Well, so happy it's Tuesday. Good morning. I'm Rayford Brown.
I'm Kelly Knapp.
I'm Lee Barrows.
And it is oh, wow. What happened to the clouds?
Oh, they cleared out fast.
You know, at quarter after 5, there were clouds out.
When I was coming in this morning,
I figured it would all have been gone by now.
It was the same way when I came in this morning. It was so cloudy. But yeah, you know what's strange?
A lot.
Behind the clouds, it was so light. Usually, when I come in the morning, it's very dark outside. But it was actually a little bit lighter than usual. It was weird.
My neighbor's drug dog is staying with us today, and she was just checking out that suitcase that's over there in the corner. That is not mine. I did not bring that in here, Lucy. That's not mine.
Tick, tick, tick.
So anyway. Early yesterday afternoon, I'm sitting there taking a little bit of a break after trying to cool down after spending some quality time inside my Jeep yesterday, pulling wires and getting wires, trying to route some of the little channel I put in there for the radio system is full of wires now. I've got all the wires mostly hidden. I've got a few more I got to wrap up. But anyway, I came in and I sat down, brought my little kitty cat in, the little baby kitty cat. Well, yes. She's not that baby, but small. Sitting there and just watching, I don't know, whatever I was watching, probably Fox News, or I think I had Frasier on. And the weather alarm goes off, the National Weather Service alerting system, and it's right in my ear on the right-hand side. I jumped straight up. Cat jump.
Oh.
That was loud, right in my ear.
I was right. It happened to me, too.
And said, y'all duck, because this area is under a severe thunderstorm watch until 10:30 p.m.
Huh.
Yeah, okay. Gusty winds, yeah. I looked outside, and nothing happening. A little later on, there was some trees were moving back and forth.
Well, you know, I went out in the yard yesterday afternoon to do a few things before the rain because I wanted to put some treatment down on the front lawn. When I went in the backyard, those trees were bending and there was stuff flying. And I was like, nope.
You need to be inside.
I need to be inside. Right.
I back here in the back area, I think I'm going to move the temperature sensor and the weather sensor thing because it's protected a lot. Because we only got 9 mile per hour gusts yesterday back here in the backyard. Well, all those trees down low, they protected it. So it's not an accurate presentation.
The last time I looked, the biggest gust I had was 14.
Yeah. Well, we had some over there because the trees up top were bending, but down low you couldn't see it. So whatever. Admittedly, my gauge is out there on the edge of that wood line, and it's very protected.
Yes.
I did feel when I was out there, it was kind of blustery, and I had this feeling that the weather service was right. But I kept waiting and looking and checking radar, and I said, well, we're going to escape this thing because it was coming up and towards the northeast. But
it kind of bows around us.
And then when it got to us last night, suddenly, wham, there it was.
Yeah, we needed it.
Did we have any thunder and lightning?
I couldn't tell you because I didn't hear it.
I didn't hear any.
I didn't hear it either.
It thundered last night.
Hear any sounds
during
like
the
that?
Basketball game. Yeah.
The rain was pretty heavy.
Right.
The rain was heavy, but it thundered and some lightning. Yeah. At least at my house.
Yeah. Well,
it was nice to walk out and not everything be yellow. So, and I think we have some more coming in Friday. So bring it on.
Yeah, to get it all cleaned up and get the ground soaked. I don't want to have to spend $400 an hour to pump water into that ground.
There can't be much pollen left out yesterday. That wind, all the stuff it was knocking off the trees, and oh my gosh, it was quite windy.
We still need more rain.
Yes, we do.
We get it. Yesterday afternoon, when I had to go out, I had to make a third run in 2 days over to one of the big box stores to get hardware stuff.
My favorite.
There's no way in the world. I don't care what kind of project I'm on. It takes me at least 3 trips to get it all done. I don't think I have to get any more for this one, but I'm not going to say I won't have to.
Right.
But when I got outside, I said, "Where in the world? What is that? Are those the clouds moving in?" No.
I went outside to the mailbox, came back in, and I smelled like smoke. Well, I mean, it was really thick.
I didn't smell it, but I saw it, And then I'm like driving over towards Western, and I'm like, where's that mess coming from?
Yeah, and
So,
it was
anyway,
really thick. You could
big-
smell it.
thick smoke up there, and coming from aboard Camp Lejeune,
Yes.
but apparently not a controlled burn, from what we're
Yes,
understanding.
the
Correct.
latest now,
So
yes.
y'all don't get upset about it.
Right.
Firefighters here in Onslow, they dispatched, I think, 8 different fire units, county units,
Thank
to
you,
go
Onslow, yes.
down towards the Dawson Cabin area, and just to stand by, because that was stuff was blowing everywhere.
It was something. And during the course of all that, I didn't know, and I lived like 5 houses from the corner. There was a small fire at the end of my street where I don't know how it started. I don't know the details, but it's somehow, more than likely, somebody threw out a cigarette, and there was some trash laying in the street that got blown out of the can, and it set it on fire. I don't know, but
Who
I was just
knows
like,
where
what?
it came from? But you know what? I read the post that you sent me yesterday
Yes.
from somebody. Something, they were blasting people who smoke, but
Right.
being very courteous to them while they were blasting them. And then said, well, you know what? You're going to have to do this till the city cleans up the cigarettes.
It's
Well,
not,
no. Those cigarettes only start fires for a very short period of time if a lit cigarette is thrown out.
right.
All those cigarette butts out there's not a cigarette butt out there laying on the ground that has started a fire.
Right. It's true.
Oh, they would have all burned
True,
up. So
true.
those cigarette butts are just nasty.
Yes.
It's nice when the city comes out to clean stuff up, but I'll tell you what, folks, quit rolling your windows down and tossing your cigarette butts into people's
Oh,
yards and along
yes.
the streets.
There's when I do my yard in the front yard, and
Uh-huh.
there's always cigarette butts in the yard right along the curb where they've blown in or thrown in or whatever. My biggest thing is picking up candy wrappers. I don't have candy in the house, but yet I'm constantly picking up candy wrappers.
Somebody, okay. Well, you know what? When I'm walking the doggies, there's somebody in our neighborhood on their way home, and I forgot. I don't recognize the little mini bottles.
Right. Oh,
They're in one little spot over there, sort of in between 2 houses, and it's a vacant area right now.
like you get out of the hotel room mini bottles out of the
I don't know.
refrigerator.
I don't go into hotel rooms with those in it, but you can go on an airplane, or you go to
Same. Yes.
used to be, they call them airplane bottles.
Right.
And you can buy them at the liquor store. You can do whatever, but anyway, just a little mini bottles is the official name for them.
Yes.
And there are always in that one little spot, and I figured maybe they just haven't been cleaned up. No, because I picked them up one day and disposed of them, and there are more there.
Sounds
When I
like
go back,
somebody's going out
somebody is
to their little area to hide while they have a swig.
No, that's on their way home. I think they dump them right there on it. Come in.
Seriously?
Yeah, absolutely. I have found full beer cans over there on Henderson Drive. Full
Wow.
beer cans. They had too much, and some young'un got it and didn't want to
That's
show up at home with them.
It's
Well,
just
That's the
I see
problem.
people, they walk through our parking lot of the office all the time.
They have to have a drink before they come see you.
I just sit, no, they don't come and see us. They're just
Oh.
walking down Henderson Drive, and they
Ah.
cut through my parking lot. I think they're coming from the apartments behind and from
Oh.
maybe Davis Street.
Yeah.
They're headed towards probably Ollie's or Dollar General or whatever else is over there. I don't know, but they cut through our parking lot all the time.
Well, it used to be when we lived at the corner of Doris and Henderson, right?
right.
Yeah.
That is how far the people could get who were driving along the road, Henderson Drive, and when school let out, when the radar picked them up, and it took that long for the blue lights to get the attention of the drivers, and they pulled over in front of our house 99 times out of 100. That's where they put it. That's where they grounded them.
Yeah.
I watched a pipe come out. I didn't know what it was. Come out the window as the police were stopping the car.
Ooh.
It was still hot. It was a crack pipe.
Not my pipe.
When they drove away, I let them. I didn't go out there till they were gone. I don't approach police cars. I don't approach police officers when they're doing their job. Okay. First of all, they get hinky about it. They don't know. Okay, are you a relative of? Are you a friend of this person? They get upset. I mean, they try to not to get upset because they don't want to be upset by you.
Right. Right.
And so I don't approach them. So well, I'm going. And then I called the police. I said, I've got a crack pipe here that was dropped, thrown out the window. Okay. They said, maybe we ought to talk to some of these guys when they're starting to stop those cars to be aware of what's coming out the passenger side. I said, yeah, because I also always have beer cans. I have other stuff that's thrown out. All sorts of mess is thrown out of that car.
Yeah, Kelly and I see that a lot on that show that we watch on the weekends because it's live and they go chasing a car and you see all sorts of stuff flying out. Drugs, bags of it, pipes, guns,
Clothes, like all kinds of
clothes.
stuff. Yeah,
We've seen it.
yeah.
Clothes.
Oh, yeah.
Clothes.
Yeah.
Weird.
Why?
I probably really don't want to know.
I don't
yeah,
want to know. Yep.
creepy. Yeah.
Anyway, that burned yesterday, about between 400 and 600 acres.
Wow.
That's a big fire.
Yeah, they said
And
this
lots of
morning
smoke.
it was still burning.
Yeah, well, I'm sure it is. I don't know why, but
Phew.
need some more rain, y'all. Put this stuff out, and we don't need any more wind. Not while it's still dry. So anyway, kudos to the firefighters at Lejeune and those from Oslo County who responded. So.
Well, don't take this wrong, but I'm very glad to know that it was not a controlled burn.
Well, yeah, it was some kind of a training thing, whatever happens. And they had something scheduled for, I think, today for the next couple of days. Oh, yes, on the south end of the county, in the county area, probably the Holly Ridge and whatever.
Right.
They're going to have a lot of noise and stuff going on.
That's right. Yes. I saw
Lots
Dorothy
of-
had posted
Yeah,
that.
lots of noise is going to be happening down in that neck of the woods for the next
Well,
couple of
I'm
days.
just glad that we can honestly say it. Last I heard, they were investigating the source, but it
Well,
was
sure.
not a controlled burning because it brings back memories of what happened years ago when they had a controlled burn that got out of control.
Wasn't that many years ago?
I know it. How many years has it been?
Well, let's see. I had taken my boat to Wrightsville Beach and to pick up some people to take them on a little tour. They
Right.
wanted some friends, some associates of a friend of mine, a good friend of mine. And so she wanted to know if I could just give them a little ride and tour the area. So I did. Throw my
Right.
boat down there. I mean, any excuse to
Ooh.
take my boat, right?
You
not
were
that big
right
a deal.
close to it then, weren't you?
Well, I could see something in the distance that day. That's the day it got started.
Sorry, that was me.
And by the time I was on the way home, that was like Wednesday or Thursday, coming back, I came through it and it was kind of stinky. And you
Right.
could see it, and it was still in the distance, but still stinky. I went to Cape Lookout over the weekend. I didn't have to, but I went up there to go fish in that area.
Nice.
And you could not see from Beaufort Inlet, you could not see the Cape Lookout Tower.
Oh my gosh.
It was just total
That was
yellow
bad. Yes.
haze.
It was
and
really bad.
stinky. Oh God!
And
that
as a
stale
re-
smoke.
Result from the fire, because there's a lot of things that come with it, like the heavy smoke
Mhm.
and visibility being diminished on it, especially for the people that were on Highway 17. I know they had emergency responders out there trying to help the people on
Sure.
17 because the smoke was so bad. And I think this was it at nighttime that the accident occurred?
It was dark.
Yeah, it was
overnight
dark
or
out.
early morning. Yeah, it was dark.
And
yeah.
there was sadness. A deputy sheriff and a fireman were killed. They were on the road trying to help
Yeah,
traffic.
that was a
and-
different fire than the one I'm talking about too. That was actually before the one I'm talking about.
Oh, okay. Well, that's the one
'Cause
I was
still in
talking about.
Wilmington
Yeah.
at the time.
Oh, yeah. That's when Holly Shelter area
Yep.
up there. Remember how
Yep.
that spread so huge?
Yeah, it is.
We were getting ashes in the city here from that.
And there was one some years before that burned Holly Shelter, but also, oh my God, it was from Hampstead North.
Yes.
They closed 17.
Oh, I remember. I
You
remember
could
how
not
bad
drive
that
on Highway
was.
17. Wow,
Gosh.
what a mess that was.
Yes.
Okay, and then the big Deppy fire, 1974-ish, I think it was. Firefighter was killed up there. It got.
I don't remember a lot on that. No,
Oh,
I don't
I do.
remember much.
I was
at
up
all
there.
on that. Oh.
Okie dokie. Coming up this morning in about 15 minutes, we're going to have our monthly call with Congressman Dr. Greg Murphy,
Yes.
3rd District Congressman. And so lots going on. They got the budget, all sorts of things they're still working on. I think from 3 years ago. Do we have a current budget? Has one ever been passed?
We
in
have
total,
one.
or is it
No,
just an interim?
it's an interim. This is an
I think
interim.
that's illegal.
No, it's a
Somebody
budget.
needs to be arrested.
It's a budget.
Everybody gets arrested. Go to jail.
No, I think that with what you were reading this morning, got my blood pressure up and rolling.
Yeah, we got a lot we can talk about.
We'll talk
here.
about that
We'll see.
later.
Uh,
I'll take 'em. Y'all go
let's go ahead and do the weather. We'll get the weather out of the way before
the
we get
weather.
caught without getting it done. The marine outlook is a bit fluid. Yes, it is. And you guys, if you're thinking about going out on your boat, I encourage you to keep a close watch on weather conditions for the next few days, because they're going to be changing. You know, yesterday, sudden wind changes and all that sort of good stuff can really make your day miserable. Offshore today, northerly winds 20 to 25 knots. We're not through with the winds, folks. Gusts to 30 knots, diminishing to 10 to 15 this afternoon. 4 to 6 foot waves, sounds and rivers rough, diminishing to a moderate chop by the afternoon. Tomorrow, northeasterly winds 15 to 20, diminishing to 10 to 15 in the afternoon. Gusts to 25. Seas 2 to 4 feet. That's better. Sounds and rivers choppy, diminishing to a moderate chop in the afternoon. Thursday, wind switching around a little bit, going instead of the northeast, they're going to come out of the southeast, 10 to 15 knots, seas 2 to 4 feet, sounds and rivers a moderate chop.
Today it'll be mostly sunny, a high of 65. We will have winds from the north, 9 to 13 miles an hour with 20-mile-an-hour gusts. Tonight, mostly clear, low of 35. God, I gotta turn the heat on. Tomorrow, sunny.
Open the windows.
No.
Yes.
All that pollen coming in?
What
No.
pollen? It's gone. It's
Well,
washed away.
Just temporarily. Tomorrow, sunny, high of 64. Tomorrow night, clear with a low of 45. And on Thursday, it will be mostly sunny, a high of 72, but the gusts are going to pick back up with 17-mile-an-hour gusts. Friday, it doesn't like rain because that changes something I was going to do, but it's what it is. But the weekend looks good. Well, not rainy.
Yeah, not.
It won't be the weather temperatures that we had last weekend, but it won't be raining. So
I'm pretty sure that many of you, I know that the three of us have watched a viral video of a situation that became bad, but could have become much worse. Tempers were flaring. It was down in Florida. The video has the charter captain of what looks like about a 24-foot center console fishing boat having words with a young man in another boat. The young man was out for a day of recreation or fishing down in Florida. The captain, we understand he's about 40, has a temper. Apparently well known for his
it's an
temper.
understatement, Rayford.
And obviously he has anger issues that he needs to deal with.
Yep.
He verbally attacks this young man, a guy about half his age, and then continues to berate him. I don't even care what it was about, okay? It happens. It doesn't matter. The video showed this young man this guy, not the young man, the captain, he should lose his captain's license immediately. That should be the first thing that happens. He does not need to be in that capacity or get to brag about it. He actually pulls his boat right up alongside the young man's boat while he exchanging words. Then he jumps aboard the other boat. Now that's bad enough, but he left his boat. He's the captain. He's a chartered captain. They're paying him. People on that boat were paying him to take them fishing. He leaves his boat and his clients without a skipper, without anybody in charge. And does he know that anybody on that boat knew anything about boats?
They did. They were all captains.
It doesn't matter.
True.
They paid this captain to take care of them. I've been stopped for routine checks. It happens if you're on the water. A bunch, not excessively, not like a lot of people. Over the first 60 years of my life, Marine Patrol officers, wildlife enforcement officers, the Coast Guard, all have jurisdiction over any boat and the people in any waters. If you want to go a little bit further, there's a organization called the U.S. Customs Service.
Mhm.
They can do whatever they want with any boat and the people on that boat. Anytime, even if it looks like it's coming, not even in U.S. territorial waters, if it looks like it's headed in that direction, they can board it and search it. Did you know that?
I did know that actually.
Mm. In every case involving me, they requested permission to
Mhm.
come aboard my boat,
Yeah, you always see that on TV. Permission to come aboard, sir, or whatever.
which
Yeah,
I immediately grant.
yeah.
Funny sidebar story, but I'll tell you about that one time, another day. This guy leaves his boat to continue his verbal attack on the young man. He scares that guy, 22
you could
years
hear
old.
it.
22 years old. He said, I'm just a kid. I'm just
Yeah.
a kid.
I know.
You could hear the fear.
His
You
words.
could have thought so.
And apologizes time and again for who knows what.
Who knows what that kid did, but
He's scared.
yeah, you could hear it.
The so-called captain should have been afraid.
Mhm.
He absolutely is so lucky that he did not illegally board a boat with an experienced skipper at the helm.
Agreed.
The idiot charter captain, if he is as experienced as he continued to claim,
Mhm.
should have known that a lot, if not most, serious boaters carry guns.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I do.
I would.
Always.
Yeah.
Boarding my boat without my permission, especially in a hostile manner, is a bad plan.
Hmm.
Not sure of the final outcome, but the captain has a date with the judge. I do know that.
Yep.
Enough people who enforce the laws have seen that video. that in itself, I don't think the kid actually filed a complaint. I think he was just afraid that he had done something wrong. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
It does not matter. This
There's
dude,
no
apparently,
excuse.
this captain came and he claimed that there's a bridge there, right? It's a great place for
Right.
fishing. Boats
Right.
gather, they congregate in those areas. There's a reason that boaters are supposed to slow down as they pass through
Mhm.
bridges. One of them is that other boats may just start up and take off and do whatever, right? You don't want a collision. But this guy, he is a captain and I can do whatever I want. Yes, I can speed through this bridge without slowing down. He claimed on the video. Go back and listen to it.
Yeah,
Let
I've
me
got.
explain something. You can have a lot of problems, sir.
I just the charges. He was charged with burglary, with assault or
It
battery.
was assault as soon as he advanced towards him.
Well,
Absolutely.
I know that, but I don't get the burglary part.
Coming onto his.
He entered a
He entered
guy's
his
dumb
boat
side.
without
I
permission.
understand that, but I just thought that was kind of unusual the way that was stated.
One, it's Florida, but I have a friend that lives down there, and
Uh-huh.
she was saying that it's like such big news down there, and she lives like in that town. But the other three guys, Rayford, they were charter boat captains too.
They should have dragged
But
him
that's what I'm
down.
saying. That I think they should be charged.
No, they
They didn't even shut this guy up.
They can't. He's
Oh,
in
that's-
charge. I don't care if they're a licensed captain or
Right.
not. He's in charge of that boat. It's
Okay.
his boat. He chartered it.
Mhm.
Whether they paid for it or not, doesn't
Yeah.
matter. He is the captain in charge.
Right.
Well-
Captain in charge is God on the boat.
Well, I know that down there, the other ones have been named, and now their businesses are being targeted for
Oh.
not interfere. Like they,
I understand. They should.
yeah,
I
they
would
should've- I would have
have.
been like, dude, what is your
I would
problem?
have dragged his butt down.
I'm saying, but they just
If you go on the webpage
It would
for
have to be
Horner's
It
business,
says
that Tarpon
closed.
Coast Fishing,
Yeah.
whatever, it says closed permanently. Whether
sure.
that's true
I
or
don't,
not,
you know,
I
somebody
don't know.
down there said that he did it just to kind of die down the publicity,
I'm sure.
so to speak. But this guy
He needs to
And
move. He'd be better off.
hollering, "I'm a veteran," not an
No,
I
It's
had
an
PTSD.
excuse, but it's not a reason.
yeah. I have a brain injury once again. Not
Then there goes that
Yeah,
captain's license, Bubba.
I mean,
well, they
this
say
guy,
he's got a lengthy arrest
he
record.
does have a lengthy arrest record.
I don't know how he's got a captain's license
I don't
unless
know
it's
either.
misdemeanors.
Probably
True.
misdemeanors. Yeah.
If running his mouth like he did,
Mhm.
I can see where he had a phrase fault. That means spikes,
Yeah.
y'all.
Yeah.
I can see that would be happening.
hmm
You know what's so sad is this young man
Yeah.
got his boat,
Yeah.
went to go
He's trying to
fishing to have a
fish.
nice, pleasant
22
fishing
years old.
experience.
20
20
years.
And you like
You can hear
you
the
can hear
fear in
the-
his voice. See, that's where the mama and me.
The dude
Came
ought to be
out,
happy
like-
that this guy didn't pick up a gaff and put
Yeah.
it where the sun don't
I
shine.
think he
Well,
was just so scared. This kid was
I
just
could
so
see
scared.
myself in that young man's position where you've got this irate man coming on your boat. You've got other people in the boat he came from. I would imagine it's best to try to talk the man
It
down
is.
than
it
to do
is.
anything to, like throw a knife at him or something, because you don't know what these other guys are going to do.
Yeah, well,
So he was in a really poor situation.
the
Bad.
guy
situation.
needs to have his
Terrible.
license removed.
I
He
agree.
does not need to be chartering
Yes.
people. He does.
I agree.
He's not responsible enough to do that. And I hope that the Coast Guard District, I know that they've seen it,
Right.
and I know that they understand what's going on. And I am sure, at the very least, there's going to be a hearing, and
Right.
a hearing to remove his license.
Coast Guard held a press conference with the local
Oh, did
police
they?
as well. Yeah,
Yes.
they both did down there. Yeah, and the Coast Guard's irate because they got so many
They
calls.
should be irate. Should be
I mean,
irate
this
with
went-
him.
This actually went international
I know.
because they heard about it in Ireland because I got
Yeah.
asked about it. So
Maybe there's a
Florida.
silver lining here, because a group of people started a GoFundMe account for the young man, and maybe now he can buy a bigger and better.
No, maybe what
and
he should
faster
do.
boat.
Maybe what he should
And-
do is go ahead and take the Coast Guard course
Mhm.
and get his own captain's license and start chartering people. I know a kid around here. He was 16 when he got his license.
Bigger, better
and
boat.
chartering people, taking people out, making money.
Well, I also
Better than
the,
working at McDonald's.
the other thing that popped into my head was, how does he act at home with his wife and kids? That's what the temper. That's what I
Does
started. He does.
Does he? Oh
does.
Lord,
Yes.
I'm sorry for them.
And that's what made me think his doors. If he's acting like this, what does he do at home? Somebody he was acting with somebody he doesn't know.
Yeah.
Can you
Well,
imagine?
He was the king. He was the king
Oh,
of the water.
because he's been captain what is he? I'm captain 300 days a year or
Well,
something.
no, he fishes
Yeah, he's
300
very
days.
good.
whatever. Oh my
He
lord!
charters
He's so
300 days.
good.
a
That's
year.
what it was. I knew it
He
was
said, "I'm the
something.
best charter
I'm the
captain."
best there is.
Yeah. What was crazy was the young man tried to drive away from the scene with him still on his boat, trying to
Hey,
de-escalate it.
bud,
But
hold
he
this
turned
anchor.
around and took him back to his boat. But
Fella, hold on to this anchor. I'll see you later.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Tell
Rayford,
Davey
isn't there
I
a way
said,
you
hey.
can gun the engine to where it just knock him off the boat?
I would think of the captain, he's got a good ability to kind of stay, steady with rockiness. You know what I mean? Like you get used to that, don't you?
You get used to the anticipated roles.
That's what I mean.
But
Yeah,
those are the anticipated roles.
that's true.
You
Okay.
hit something or something hits you or
Mhm.
whatever. That's not anticipated.
Okay. All right.
You,
Well, here it is
you
right
develop
here.
what they call sea legs.
Oh, his arrests were during the years of 2003 and 2008 when he was in a university. So anyway,
I'm sure it was something about drunk and disorderly.
It had to be. And not only that, I think he probably just got lucky in between.
Where did the traumatic brain injury come from?
I don't see anything right here that
what
says
he
anything
hollered the
about
first
it.
day said
That's
he
what I heard.
yeah.
Okay. Whatever.
He's got some impeccable certifications and stuff,
dime a
He's
dozen.
trained and
Everybody can
certified
be
in
certified.
CP. Well, okay.
Seriously.
I'm just saying though, but he's got some impeccable certifications,
CPR
and
training
it's
is standard.
sad.
Yeah.
He's
To be
got
captain.
CPR, AED, pediatrics. He's also involved with the Wounded Warriors Alumni Association, and he's got several other things.
Those are not
Which
credentials.
I know that, but I'm just saying this is other stuff that he's
Uh-huh.
involved in.
Uh-huh.
Which and it's sad that he's got.
He's blown this.
Yeah, it's sad. That's what I'm
Who's
trying to say.
going
yes.
to want to have anything to do with it?
Right.
Nobody.
No, me. I'm not going on his boat.
His wife's probably so embarrassed she walks out
I'm
of the
going
house
on
with
the
a bag on
pirate
her head.
attack.
Like
I just-
seriously. I mean, well,
Yeah,
Rayford-
some of his past charges include DUI, felony battery, weapons possession on school grounds, driving with a suspended license, theft of property, multiple probation violations, and more. Like you said,
How did he get a captain's
how does
license
he
with
still
all that?
They are screened that better. They did screen.
Well, it
it.
is Florida. So,
No.
I'm saying.
U.S. Coast Guard screens it. That's got
Okay.
nothing to do with Florida.
Then I don't know,
my.
but
could be a
those are-
situation
what is
where this
happening?
was many years ago.
It doesn't
say.
matter.
I would think, yeah, it still shows up.
And it could be an oversight. We don't know. I'm sure it'll all come out before it's over with.
And maybe he got all that stuff after he got his captain's license, and then he has to renew it every, I think it's 5 years. But
Don't you have to declare charges and stuff?
yeah, but people lie. Did you not know that there are people out there that lie? Don't you ever have people lie to you?
Yes.
Oh, I see where the traumatic brain injury comes from. This was a
Somebody hit
guy
him in the head. Like
that
they
is
should
a
have.
self-proclaimed attorney on Twitter X. He said that Horner's conduct needs to be seen in the context of what he has given for his country, and claimed Brock allegedly suffered traumatic brain injury during combat in Afghanistan, and the VA has reportedly diagnosed him as 100% disabled. This was somebody that is a self-proclaimed attorney that was on Twitter. So,
Well, first of all, just because you have a TBI does not give you carte blanche to go around acting a fool. So there's that.
Dr. Murphy.
Okie dokie. It is now Tuesday. It is the second Tuesday of the month. And you know what day this is?
Yes, it is.
It's called Murphy Day.
Murphy
Good
Day.
morning, Congressman. How are you?
Hey guys, good morning. Hope y'all are doing good.
We
Very
are.
great.
Thank you.
Time for our monthly date with the 3rd District Congressman, Dr. Greg Murphy, a man who spends every waking moment trying to survive his plunge into that bureaucratic swamp known as our nation's capital.
Well, it was a very, very long day yesterday and late into the night working on this budget nonsense.
Yeah.
But we'll make some progress.
Budget nonsense. I know you're involved into it up to your eyeballs. What can we look forward to? Are we ever going to have a budget again that is actually on time?
That is the hope that in 2026 we will. The problem is logistical doing it this year.
Yes.
We have to get a number. The real problem was we sent something over to the Senate that, in my opinion, was fiscally responsible, but what we got back from the Senate was not. So, and the good thing is we had a good meeting last night with about 30 of us that are pretty much going to hold the line and say what from the Senate is not acceptable, because they're not really taking our budget crisis and our debt seriously, I don't think. And, when the president wants all these new, no tax on this, no tax on that, we got to figure out how we pay for it. And we can't just print money like has been done in the past. So there's a lot more hard work to do. So
are the efforts of this president, first of all, I'm assuming what he's doing is nothing more than what you expected or what Congress expected after he was elected. But is what he's doing creating problems for Congress itself in preparing a budget?
Well, yes. Yeah, because, when the market has crashed and all this has gone on with the tariffs, et cetera, it just creates an instability. Now, that said, here's one way to look at this. I think it's a couple different ways to look at it. If you have a child who is sick and you know that they're sick, but they don't know that they're sick, and you have to give them medicine that they don't like to make them better when they don't know that they're not good. This is a very similar situation of what we're trying to fix here. And the second thing is, if there were not such a great, I can send you guys a slide, if there were not such a great trade imbalance, the markets wouldn't be reacting like they were. Mm-hmm. They are reacting like there is indeed a very, very bad trade imbalance, which is getting worse and worse. And so, the Biden administration did absolutely nothing on trade in the last 4 years. I know that personally because I'm on Ways and Means and on the trade subcommittee. And so it's just, this is a dereliction of Republican and Democrat administrations that we've allowed this all to continue, and we've allowed the United States to become essentially a service economy, manufacturing economy. And so it's trying to get things back to balance. If there's one thing that we should have gleaned from the pandemic, it is our dependence upon other countries, a large number of which don't like us. China, for example. And so we have to correct those things.
They like our money.
The president is. Well, China, look at what Reagan did with the Soviet Union. It's an excellent comparison because how he defeated the Soviet Union was to basically starve their economy. And that's exactly what needs to happen with China, because China is, of course, they plan things in 25 and 100-year increments, and we do them in 4. But China plans for a one world order. They've been very public about that.
Yep.
So the only way to defeat them really is not militarily, but economically.
Well, you know what? I hear so many people complaining about this group called DOGE, Department of Government Efficiency. Tell me, Doctor, what is the U.S. African Development Foundation, and why did we been giving them $51 million for that foundation in grants for things that included shea butter, marketing shea butter and pineapple juice and mango drying facilities? Why are we, my tax dollars, funding $51 million for this group? And what am I going to benefit from it? How?
Well, this is just ridiculous. And, the libs are getting all crazy about they don't like those, they don't like this, they don't like that. It's kind of like the kids getting caught with their hand in the cookie jar. They don't like being caught. And so, who said we all knew?
You
but he wasn't going to lie. He was going to tell you the truth that this is how bad things are.
Yeah.
And so, no, you know what? It's the right thing to do. And we found out so many abuses that gone on in this government. But a lot of liberals don't want to admit that. They just want to scream and rant and rave and have protests, which is just, par for the course. It's not about solutions. It's just about protesting.
Yeah, I've been stating for quite some time now, and I've been trying not to, and I've been fairly successful about not bashing our former president. And that's still my plan. But we've learned that Biden may have been signing all sorts of documents, perhaps even some of the pardons that he issued, with what has been termed an auto pen. I did not have a clue what an auto pen was until all of this stuff started coming up. I knew about rubber stamps in the past, people's signatures, and they would be rubber stamped by kind of a normal way for sometimes big executives to do business because they didn't have time to sign each and every one of them, right? But it gives the appearance to me that someone other than the president is actually making the decisions, or was at that time. I assume that's not what's going on now. Maybe Biden had no idea how the ship was sailing.
Well, one thing that Mike Johnson was very explicit in telling us all that he went over and
Uh-oh, you're dropping out a little bit. I don't hear you at all now. Doctor, you still there?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Now I got you back. You just dropped for a second.
Sorry about that. He signed an executive order curtailing the American natural gas. And he said, why would you do that, Mr. President? It really hurts Louisiana, where he's from, et cetera, et cetera. And Biden said, I didn't do that. Yes, Mr. President, you did. No, I didn't do that. I just wanted to study on that. No, Mr. President, you did. So he had no clue that he had done it. So it's telling. Who knows how many of these things were done? Staff in the administration.
Yeah, and some people have concerns about how far down the list does this go. I'm assuming you sign your own papers, right? You don't have anybody else signing them for you.
No, I sign my own papers. There are some things that we send out with a stamp and stuff.
Yeah,
because I don't. We get hundreds of letters every day, and I review the responses and edit the responses. But individually, they all go out with a stamp.
Okay, but you've gone through all of that stuff, right?
Oh yeah. I've read it and everything, and I've edited it. Yeah.
Yeah, I know from day one when you took office, you put staffers, which was kind of interesting. I don't think we had that before in a lot of strategic locations throughout the district. People that you could who were staying in touch with all the folks that you represent in those 13 counties.
Yeah, I mean, at that point now, it was 17 counties. And
17 counties, yeah, that's right.
yeah, it was crazy to just have one office. And so I thought it was a good idea. And it's people in the community, and I think it's worked out very well.
Yeah, I remember talking with Walter Jones, the predecessor there, many years ago, and he said, "You know what? The one thing about a congressman, if you keep talking to him enough, you're going to reach him, and you're going to get the message to him. And if you leave messages, they always tell me all the messages that I get. So I think that was a good thing." He said that's one of the differences between a congressman who represents a smaller portion of each state than does a senator who represents the entire state. So he was kind of comparing the two. So,
well, no, it's the House of the People versus the House of the Lords, as they say in the British format. But no, it's a lot more closer with members of Congress than with the Senate itself. And so, those guys are more DC centric, and they travel a lot more. They have to.
Mm-hmm.
We're much more district centric, which is fine, which I actually prefer.
Yeah.
So,
well, we'd like to see you down here in Jacksonville. Well, I don't think I've seen you here. I know you've been here because I see it in the paper and stuff like that. Maybe one of these mornings, if you either overnight or you can get down here early, come on in and sit down for a while.
Yeah, we'll lock the doors.
Yeah, we'll open the doors for you.
We'll lock the doors behind you.
Yeah, we could keep everybody out. I'd do that.
Like I'm used to early mornings. We already had our 5:45 a.m. baseball practice.
Well, I was going to ask you about that too. That's the last on my list here this morning. I know you've been practicing. Are you good enough yet to whoop them?
Always.
We're good enough to beat a semi-pro team. I really think that because we have some guys that are really, really good.
Uh-huh.
I mean, Pat Harrigan is a new member from the middle western part of the state. And Pat is 6'6", and he's a pitcher, and he's a big dude. And so I feel sorry for those. Well, we're going to kill them again. But
they played.
I think it's June the 12th. Everybody tune in.
Yeah, June 11th.
June 11th or 12th. Well,
yeah. Guys, we're going through some tough times in the country, and I don't try to soften that a little bit. But if the president had not done this, if we don't take our budget seriously, next 1 to 3 or 5 years, we will be having what we call a sovereign debt crisis, where the world will say the United States can't pay back its debt.
Yeah. And
we crash. The dollar doesn't become the norm. The Chinese yuan does. And we're in such a difficult situation. 1929 will look like a hiccup. And so
that's bad.
We have to do that. And, the other side of the coin is they love to scream about, giving tax breaks to corporations and stuff. That what happened in 2017 with the Trump tax cuts is that it pulled companies that had all gone overseas because Obama was taxing them the highest tax rate in the world.
Wow.
And so they all left. So what happened is we lowered the tax rate, brought them back to the United States. And guess what happens when businesses and companies come back?
Well, they pay taxes.
People.
Yes, and they pay taxes.
They employ people and they pay taxes. And so this is just something our Democratic friends just can't get through their head. They don't understand the logic in it. Wow. And the same thing with lowering, taxes. Do they need to be tweaked a little bit? I actually would submit they do. But they had such a great effect in 2017. And this was the Biden economy. Give me a break. He talked about creating jobs. These were the jobs that were created because of the Trump tax cuts. But it takes a few years for companies to move assets, to move buildings, to create structures inside. So this nonsense that Biden created jobs it's just a joke. Has nothing to do with that. So it takes a while for effects of these, tax measures to have effect.
Yeah, I got to disagree with you just a little bit there. He created 80,000 jobs in the VA. He took people off the streets and gave them a government. Wait a minute, doesn't that sound like the right thing to do? We'll go ahead and pay them out of the public trough, right?
Well, it's crazy, and this is where. And even the Secretary of the VA, the Biden Secretary of the VA, admitted that in the last 2 meetings we had on Veterans Affairs that they overhired.
Uh-huh.
They spent $180 billion more during his administration, hiring 80,000 more people to the VA. And guess what didn't change? The number of veterans served.
Uh-huh.
And so it just still is. The bureaucracy is unbelievable.
Yeah.
And no, the Democratic mantra is to just hire more, pay more, rather than do it more smartly and efficiently.
Yeah.
So,
I've got a lot
it
of
hurts their feelings, but can't help it.
I've got a lot of friends that are ham radio operators, and they're veterans, and they're always, when we're out there chatting, and they're always going to the VA, and they're always complaining about they're not getting any better service than they've always gotten. That's one of the big complaints that I hear. I hear it every day. Seriously, I hear it every day from these guys.
Well, they needed to hire 80,000 more doctors, not people answering the phone and work in the office. Because that's what they don't have is doctors.
Pretty much.
Well, that's a nationwide problem. It's not just a VA problem, and you don't want to get me started on our medical education system, because
here we go.
Then I'll really go to task, because the leaders who are directing medical health care in this country have all gone woke, and they're losing their mission about training doctors to actually take care of patients.
I agree with that
But that's
statement.
That's a whole different diatribe. It is what it is, and there's a lot of reformation. It is long past time that we had accountability in government, and I, for one, am glad we're seeing it.
I think that I understand in my mind, after analyzing it after almost 77 years on Earth now, I think that I understand what this president is doing with these tariffs. First of all, some of it is a threat. It's a pressure point. As a cop, we used to use pressure points on a regular basis, right? Sometimes you got to get people, put them under the right pressure to get them to comply. Countries like Mexico, countries like China, other countries, they got to understand that if you're going to steal our companies or give them enticements to come to Mexico to produce products and then ship them back to the United States, we're going to tax those products. Call it a tax, tariff, whatever you want to call it. We're going to tax them. Just like it's one of your own country, one of your own companies, a homegrown Mexican company. We're going to tax them too. What's the difference?
Well, folks don't understand. Yeah, it's understand that India, Israel, Italy, Vietnam, Cambodia, China, all these people have had horrible tariffs against us.
Yep.
And so, we're just saying, hey, this is not right. India, depending upon what you look at, with goods is 25 to 50+% tariffs on American goods.
Sure.
But we're happy to take their in without any tariffs. So the great thing is many countries now are knocking on the door saying, all right, well, we're going to lower our tariffs. Israel's done it. Vietnam, Mexico did, obviously. Cambodia, a lot of the other countries are doing it. Now, China's going to double down, but China can't survive on its domestic consumption. It will wither away just like the Soviet Union did. And so, no, this is the right thing to do. Maybe the messaging wasn't as good as it should have been, and maybe that was an issue, but it's definitely the right thing to do.
Well, I understand that there are any number of those other countries that are now wanting to come to the table to make deals with the United States to kind of help that tariff situation so that we will continue importing their products and being able to pay for them. So that, if nothing else, sometimes you got to use a little pressure to get things done.
Absolutely. Yep.
All right.
Absolutely, guys.
All right, stay in touch with us and the people. I know there are a lot of people out there who've got a lot of things, and I guess you've got some folks who are protesting some of your stuff, doing some public protesting.
Well, they're either paid agitators or professional agitators, one or the other. And sometimes they've moved in from out of state or do whatever. But the people of Eastern North Carolina see that. And by the way, the rest of the world's working while they're out protesting. So, if they want to have intelligent discussions and not scream and rant and rave, I'm happy to have those. But so far, there's just been a lot of screaming and rant and raving. And, good Lord, Chuck Edwards in the western part of the state tried to have a town hall, and they attacked it.
It was bad.
So, sorry. That's just not the way you conduct business. So,
Is a town hall a possibility? I know you do. I know you do the telephone town halls. Yeah,
which reaches a lot more people. And sadly enough, when Tillis gets death threats, when I get death threats, I'm not. It makes me less interested in doing something like that because these people are obviously not going to act right. So,
so yeah, you do. There is some fears there. I can understand that.
Well, I'm not afraid personally. I'm not afraid myself, but it's just ridiculous that you can't have discussions with these people and all they do is scream and yell obscenities, and these professional agitators goes around and just incite people, and this is what's going on. So
okay. All right, sir. Thank you for your time, and we'll see you next month, if not before.
All right. Have a great day.
All right.
Thanks,
you.
you too.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Dr. Greg Murphy, our 3rd District Representative here in Eastern North Carolina. 17 counties. I don't know why I'm stuck on 13 counties.
It is 13 counties. It was 17.
I think he just said it was 17 now. I don't know. Maybe I'm confused. Maybe I'm confused.
And the ball game is June 11th, 2025, because I had looked that up.
June 12th will be the day of celebration for the winning team. I didn't say who the winning team is.
I watched it last year. You can watch it like on C-SPAN.
Mm-hmm.
There's channels. There's also YouTube. And some of those congressmen, senators.
Who's that 6'6" guy who's a pitcher?
Yeah.
Oh,
he is awesome too.
He's just
Yeah,
he's just practicing.
What kills me is some of these guys that you see in suits every day.
Yeah.
They're out there, and once they put on that baseball outfit,
They're a
and they
different
have
person.
they start running and jogging like a professional. It's just funny to watch them. But no, those games are really, really fun to watch. I put the link on our page for anybody who wants to go check it out.
Well, Rayford, I thought about you actually. There's a bill that I really do believe will end up becoming law here in North Carolina in December.
Mm-hmm.
It's the House Bill 394, and which basically says you will be fined if you're driving with your animal on your lap.
Yeah,
I don't drive with my animal in my lap.
Yeah,
I don't do that.
Yeah.
I don't like my
distracting,
animal in my
'cause they're
lap.
talking about being distracted
But
drivers.
first of all,
Mhm.
if I don't have a seatbelt on my critter when he's sitting in my lap,
Right.
and if I have to stop suddenly, I'm
gonna
going
get
to
hurt.
crush my critter against the steering wheel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Duh. I don't have giant dogs or
I've seen people with big dogs on
I
their lap.
have
I'm like,
too.
how do you see? Like,
that's distracted driving if
it
nothing
is, and that's what they're
else.
calling it, distracted driving. And they said the state's starting to crack down, but they're also the new bill. Well, starts at $100 fine, but I mean, they said because you operate with a pet or a child. Well, who drives with a kid on their lap?
Oh,
But I
good
hate
God,
to
you've
ask that
got to
question.
be kidding.
I know, I've seen it.
You haven't seen that before?
And they're saying the distraction when like pets in the way, they're looking at their face, blah, blah, blah. And so and they already passed the committee. So it is going for the full, what is it called? The full whatever. And then if it passes, it'll go into law in December.
I've got an idea
Mm-hmm.
for law enforcement agencies.
Yeah.
Those that are the size of Jacksonville, the Onslow Sheriff's Office, and those, they ought to dedicate a vehicle, a pickup truck. It sits up high. You can see down into other vehicles.
See what's going on in there?
Yeah, of course.
Well, you'd be
and
entertained.
and then what you need to do at that point in time is go ahead and mark that vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
You know how they have some cars marked up for whatever purposes, like dare cars or other vehicles. Go ahead and decorate this thing, wrap this thing, and call it distracted driving investigations. Distracted driving investigations, and let somebody, a different person, drive it each day and just look. Jake Western Boulevard, take the bypass and drive around and look down at what people are doing, and they're with their thumbs, 2 thumbs going. How can you, with 2 thumbs, drive your steering? I saw advertised, which I would tear them apart if I pulled them over. A monitor, a video screen that was attached to the steering wheel.
Oh, heck no.
I would nail it because that's right up front. North Carolina did not have a law. I assume it still does not have, for fuzzbusters, they called them. That was a brand name for radar detectors and stuff like that. But you know what? I didn't like giving tickets, period, bottom line. But if I did catch you speeding and I would pull you over and I'd just generally chew you out, right? Explain to you how you've done this and this and this. I run your record. Now, if you got a lengthy record for speeding,
Correct.
you get
You're
a
getting a
ticket.
ticket,
You're going to
yeah.
get a ticket.
Yeah.
Done deal.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it's officer discretion. However, if you got and you go speeding by me, and of course, we don't turn those radars on where you can even pick them up until I can see you.
Right.
And then I hit the button. And by that time, you can't slow down because that radar is traveling at 186,000 miles per second.
That's
Got
very
it?
cool.
That's the speed. And then when you hit it and you get the other car, and I pull them over and they've got a radar detector, you're automatically going to get a ticket.
Right.
Because I say it's an intent on your part to violate the speed laws. If you've got a radar detector, it's not a safety device. You've got a cruise control for that. If you've got a radar detector on there,
Right.
I really seriously think it's an intentional act to violate a law. You want to get away with it, don't you?
Well, they said on here between 2017 and 2022, there were 50,000 distracted wrecks in North Carolina from pets or
I'm
kids.
surprised there are that few.
I know. So that's hence part of what is happening.
Now, I don't know what you could do for a bee when it gets in the car.
Oh, that would be
with me.
That would be the reason
Now,
right
when-
there.
Have an accident.
when I got a bee buzzing
would be a
around,
problem.
because if I get stung, I got to drive them to the hospital to get a
Right.
shot. But if I, so if there's a bee inside, y'all gonna have to forgive me.
I agree. That's same.
It's going to be easy in my vehicle.
No,
That's the insurance commercial where the lady crashes through that
yes, I've seen
that food stand on the side of the road because there would be. Yeah, that would be me.
Yeah, I
That
don't-
would totally be me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
You're leaving us?
I have to. I have my.
Oh, you're
Yeah.
leaving? Oh,
I have to
okay.
leave. Yeah.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
I'm
She's
sad
running
you're gonna
away
miss our
again.
guest.
I know. I'm going to listen for about.
I'm a
12
little
minutes.
disappointed in you for two things today.
Okay. What?
One is, and it was done with malice aforethought, not by me,
Oh, goodness.
What did you do,
not by me. Look at the board. It was done by Lee.
Lee? What is happening?
We did that all last month and you never noticed it.
That you put the wrong month again?
Yes.
Okay.
No, we did it on purpose.
Oh.
All during,
I looked at it one day and it's like they don't know what they're
All
doing. I
doing-
remember thinking it once, but I didn't look at it.
You,
today.
all
I
every,
saw the
every,
videos.
every time there's a little blip on my monitor over
I
there,
know. I see it.
you see a
see
little
it.
blip.
It's my-
What's over there right now?
The autism awareness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been over there for a week.
I know.
I figured for sure you would have jumped up and down. What is this about?
I know what it's about. Yeah.
all during the month of February, we put
There's-
the wrong
there are
month
ham
on
radio-
there. And you didn't say anything.
I saw it though. I just was trying. I just saw it. I just laughed.
All I have to do is put one wrong date on there and you catch it right away.
You put an E
So-
on something not supposed
Yeah.
to have it, you're done, right?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so the other day when I was updating the board, I told Rayford, I said, I'm going to put May on here and see how long it takes Kelly.
Yeah, I saw it and I was like, why did she put me? I just left it alone. Yeah, not on my mind.
But anyway, amateur radio
We have
is,
to mess
they've
around.
got stations operating all over the country
Mhm.
with special call signs. And I
Yeah.
happened to work one of them the other day, and that is him. He's up in New York, I think
Oh
it was,
no
in New Jersey.
way!
And they put out their stuff on their Facebook pages and
Mhm.
everything else to get out to support, bring attention to autism.
Yeah.
I figured you'd see that.
Okay.
Now you know.
No,
Next
I know.
time I'm gonna go looking for these guys one of these days, call you and put you on the air with them.
I would love to talk to them.
That would be fun.
Yep.
Okay.
All
Got it.
right.
All right, go make some money.
Go make some
No,
money.
go get well. Go get
Yeah.
do something.
So
Yes.
You're not in jail or court today, are you?
no, not dressed like this. No,
Okay.
She's got her jammies on.
no, I don't have my jammies on. I'm
Yes, she does.
That's what I sleep in.
Yes, she does. We got.
Yeah, we have some guests. Come
We
on
do
up.
have some guests, special guests. They're not
That
sure what they
chair,
got
this chair.
getting into today, but oh,
Yes. Oh, for some reason,
we'll take
I
a little moment
pictured.
of silence because I think they're
You pictured
concerned.
me older, didn't you?
Yes. Especially after talking to you. And I'm like, he's just a baby.
I have 6 kids
Oh my gosh.
Of your own?
of my own, yes.
Oh, you didn't just go out and find them, pick them up or something?
No,
He does find other ones too.
Does he?
Yeah.
My wife says I steal babies in the supermarket a lot because I can walk by and there's a little kid there in the buggy or whatever, and I start I'll wave, and of course most of them will wave right back at me, and
They don't know
Wait.
stranger danger.
they don't, but they're sitting there and they turn around. And I had one little kid that was walking one day, and My wife was with me, and the little boy, here he comes, trailing right along with us. That's it. My wife told the mom and said, he steals kids. Thanks a lot. That's just what I don't need to hear. What they don't need to hear. So anyway, good morning. How are you guys?
Good.
Do
Thank you
the
for having
honors.
us.
Yeah, let me do the honors. We have Nicole
Nicole.
Lovejoy. Yeah,
Oh, you,
I'm still on the
McCoy
fishing.
and Lovejoy. I got you.
yeah,
Got it.
okay.
Put them together.
Nicole Lovejoy. She is the Chief Mission and Advancement Officer with the YMCA.
Yes.
God, I hope there's some abbreviations for that.
I had to go slow because I was like, eh. And Charlie Myers, and he is the CEO of the New River YMCA.
So he got the CEO part going.
That's
fine.
easy. He's 18. But yes,
He will be
it's-
on his next birthday, right?
they came in to talk about the YMCA because big news Thursday morning. There's going to be
Yay.
a groundbreaking ceremony
Finally.
for the swimming pool. And we've had so many people call into the show or comment on our pages like, when's the pool going to open up?
For all of you folks
when can
who
we
would
get a
like to go to
membership?
this groundbreaking, what time is it?
11 a.m.
Okay, bring your bathing suits. Go ahead and wear your bathing suits to the
Yeah.
groundbreaking. I think I'd make a great picture.
Yeah, it'll speak it into existence then.
Who's going to actually have the shovels in hand?
So we have 20 shovels.
Oh my.
So
won't take long to get this
they've
done.
been spray painted gold,
Mhm.
and we're gonna have our staff, our board, some city officials, county, board of ed. Everybody's gonna be there.
Nice, nice.
All of these
nice.
folks had to sign off on getting the funding and everything for this. This is great. Finally coming to
And so,
fruition.
so
Yes.
now we're handing them the shovel to actually start digging the
Yes,
hole.
yes.
Yes, that's why there's 20. We actually have to dig the hole.
That's good. That's not
Yeah.
a problem.
It's great.
Maybe they'll cough up some more money so they won't have to dig the whole thing.
Oh, now you're just really stirring the
I know
pot
that.
with them. They're just sitting there going,
they like me
Pray for
anyway.
it.
They're saying,
Right.
shut up.
right,
I can
right.
hear them.
And I'll say, Nicole, you can't be much over 18 either.
Well, thank you.
Look at them. They're just
Well,
so young.
it's what does the Y in YMCA mean?
Young.
Thank you. How's that?
There's some great leaders here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Excellent.
This has been a project that's been in the works for quite some time. It's been in the discussion stages since I was a young man, long time ago. It's been talked about. I'm like, what's taken so long when you look at it over the last few years? And finally, when Billy Sewell was talking to me one day about, this stuff, and I said, he said, we got it. We got a plan.
Been
really?
a dream of his.
Really?
Yes.
And it turned out that's what it was. It's so I was just discussing it with him, some general. Then I learned a lot about it. So I'm happy. Good for you. Good for
Yes.
all of you.
Thank you.
Exciting time for the community to
Yeah.
just
Very.
come
When can
together. And
When can I go swimming?
as everyone knows, I mean, we could not have done this without the support of so many within the
Mm.
community, the elected officials and the government officials and the state and federal, to make this not only just the pool, but the full service YMCA
Sure.
that they're going to have there.
There's a lot that goes into it. I remember they used to have little rooms for some people. Quite often when they were traveling from one place to another, a guy might not want to spend $125 for 4 hours worth of sleep in a hotel somewhere. They had facilities for that.
That's going way back.
I think it's at the founding.
Yeah, it was. That's what it kind of was all about. People were moving from place to place, and they just needed a place to put their heads down for a while. Come a
Yeah.
long way since then.
The Y has, and there's some YMCA's still have the housing
Mhm.
in the
I
bigger
know.
cities. They still have offer the housing a little bit different, but often it's set up that way
Mhm.
at a cheaper rate, affordable. And when I was in Columbus, Ohio, we still had 400 men in our historic downtown
Really?
facility, and they still offer not that building, but they built a new building for them. But it was
That's cool.
amazing opportunity to serve some of the most that are in need the most
Mhm.
in those communities. So the Y is unique in the sense of every Y figures out how can they serve their community the best. And we know for sure that Onslow County is providing that indoor pool and safety around water and swim lessons to every second grader that'll be here.
That's one of the things I complained about. That I went to, unfortunately, back in my earlier years, a whole lot of drownings for local people living in Onslow County who got to the ocean and they went into the water and a minor thing happens, but then they can't keep their heads above water. They cannot swim. Step into a hole, or you know that water just knocks you down, and then they flounder, and then they die. Can't tell you the number of little kids that I've seen do that. I know little kids being 8, 10, 12, 14 years old. That's just not good.
No.
Unacceptable. And there was no formal, organized training in this area at all. None. Zero. Had some private individuals offering swimming lessons.
Yeah. So once we're fully up and operating, every second grader throughout the county will receive free what we refer to as safety around water. So it's a very basic, but we want to make sure that if they get in some type of water, they know how to get out if they fall in.
I got a relative, a cousin, who lives in Kingsport, Tennessee. She's from Kingsport, Tennessee. She lived here for quite a while, but she's in Kingsport again. And she did a check when she got back there. She grew up there. She went to high school there, the whole kit and caboodle. They have swimming, mandatory swimming in their high school. You'd have to get a puddle outside of Jacksonville High or any of the schools here to do that. But starting in the second grade is great. It's too bad that they had to wait in Kingsport. They don't even have an ocean in Kingsport. They got some streams, creeks.
Yes. Yeah.
But they saw a need for it. What took us so long? But I don't want to look back. We're looking forward now. I'm looking forward to that pool too.
All right,
Tell
well,
us a little bit about
yes.
second graders. All second graders will be afforded the opportunity free to learn to swim.
Correct. Safety around water, all second graders, public school, private school, home schools. Pretty much if you're in second grade in the county, you'll have the opportunity to have a safety around water.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Now, you're going to have the groundbreaking ceremony Thursday morning. What's the estimated time for ribbon cutting?
18 months is
18
what we're
months.
hoping.
The pool's going to be ready at 18 months?
That's what we're hoping.
Is that both of them?
September of 26, the entire facility.
Really?
Construction pending, no issues. Will be open to the public.
We'll make it
Oh,
by
that's
January 1st for sure then, for 2027. I know construction.
We're going
I
September.
understand.
No pressure
like
on
it.
our contractor if they're
Uh-huh.
listening this morning, right?
Not at all. Bring it on. Let's do it.
So you're saying that 18 months, if everything goes well, we should be able to walk in and buy a membership and start exercising, start swimming.
Absolutely. That's what we're
I
hoping.
like this. This is good. And we've had a lot of people question us, like, when can we go? When can we go? It's good
There are
news.
any number of scuba operations in the area, and there are lots of instructors around here, but they don't have a place to teach the open water
There
part,
you
the pool
go.
part of that certification process. They have to go someplace else unless they have base access, which in some of the cases they do, but not all.
Right.
So a lot of people who live in this area are limited in that. So I can see that being a partnership coming up too. It is in Wilmington.
Yes.
So this is going to be like a full service YMCA, correct?
Yes, absolutely.
So if I have like children and I want to go into an exercise class, are you going to have a nursery available, daycare available?
We will. So our facility currently does offer a preschool, half-day preschool program. So that is going to continue. But in that same building, we will open Child Watch, which is where you would drop your kids when you come in to utilize the facility, whether you're taking a yoga or Zumba class,
Right.
or you're swimming, or just working out in the weight room.
Yes, I know you've already talked about having a lot of classes there, just besides going in and taking a hold of the and exercising. You're going to offer classes like Zumba and yoga. So there's going to be a little bit of everything
Are you
for
going
everyone.
to employ like freelance contractors to do the teaching and stuff like that, or are you going to have a full-time staff?
We'll have staff.
I know you have some staff, but are you just going to bring in instructors for certain special?
Yeah, we'll have certain instructors. Like if someone specializes in Zumba and they only want to teach the Zumba because they're passionate about Zumba, we would hire them just to strictly teach the Zumba class.
Well, that would be the right smart thing to do.
Now, will you be open 24/7 or will you have?
We will not. So we'll most likely those hours have not fully been decided. So don't hold me to that. But
Right.
it'll be probably a 5 a.m. or 4:30 a.m.
That's
opening,
enough.
Right.
and then closing at 9 or 10 o'clock each
Yeah,
evening.
that's
Give you time to get home.
Yes, that's pretty good time.
And it's a true, I mean, it's a true
Yeah.
family facility. So
Right.
it's like Nicole was saying, we'll have the child watch opportunities,
Mhm.
but parents want to come in, work out, put their child in child watch, but then they want to, after they're done working out, they go jump in the pool for a little bit, or they go on the back fields and play Gaga in their Gaga pit or something. So it'll be a
Nice.
full family
That play
facility.
what?
Gaga.
Gaga.
I feel like this is a YMCA thing because I didn't know what it was
Is that-
until then either.
Thank God.
I had no
What is
idea.
It's an octagon shaped, 3-foot high wall, and you have a kickball in a sense, and you're basically bouncing off the walls and
Trying
the
to tag
ground.
their feet
Kind
out.
of dodgeball and
Because
handball at the
you
same
hit it
time.
and it goes any direction.
It wears
You
the
don't know
kids
direction.
out. That's all that
Gotcha.
parents need to know.
Ah,
They will be
gotcha.
Yeah,
tired.
like Gaga.
Okay.
I need a nap. I think I'd need a nap just watching.
I've never heard of it.
I
Thank
had
you.
never heard of it
Thank you.
until I
There's two
came
of
to the
us.
Y either.
So if you have any grandkids or any youth out there listening, I'm not sure youth are in school, probably they should be, but
Mhm.
parents of summer camp, send them down to the Y. We have space still, and they can play some Gaga to wear them out.
Well, I can go pick up
Pretty
some
cool.
kids walking the streets and take them down. What do you think?
Sure. Bring them on over.
My grandbaby's too old for that.
Yeah. So just to get this right, we have the outdoor swimming pool and we have an indoor swimming
No
pool.
outdoor.
No outdoor.
Oh,
Only,
no, just-
only indoor.
Oh, so are we building over top of the
I
outdoor?
hope so.
I thought the outdoor was just going to be outdoor in one. See, I'm glad you.
So
I'm
two
glad you-
indoor facilities, an 8-lane lap pool for
Wow.
swimming,
Year
competition swim.
round.
And
In
then
the same
also
building?
In the same building.
What's
also
the water
every-
temperature
Wow.
going to be?
So it's year-round swimming.
Depends on what pool. The family pool will probably be about 87 to 88 degrees, and the lap
Nice.
pool will be anywhere between 78 and 81.
Don't let Rayford in there. He'll be throwing smallmouth bass in there.
No, I don't go freshwater
You go
fishing.
fish.
Sharks are good though.
Yeah. Oh my
Bull
gosh.
sharks can survive in freshwater.
So in about 18 months, we can see this opening. It'll be full service for everyone. We can buy memberships, go in there, start exercising, start swimming. This is going to be
There's going to be
very,
some
very
good
nice.
competition. We could actually
Yes.
have with the swim teams that have to train in other parts elsewhere.
Right.
That in some of the schools, Jacksonville High, they could actually have a good swim team now, or all the schools could, and compete. That would be
Yes.
wonderful.
Oh, it would be wonderful.
And we'll start in the
Absolutely.
while in time. The Y will start their own swim team
Mm.
for youth. So then that'll eventually just
Nice.
train right up. So when they're already swimming and competition swimming at a young age, so when they get to the high school, they're even
Excellent.
more prepared for
Very,
that high school
very
competition.
nice. Yes.
It is so about time. I'd like
Oh, yes. We're
Oh, good.
excited about it.
So where
Yeah.
did you guys come from?
Born and raised in West Virginia, but then rotated into Ohio for most of my YMCA career. In the final last 3 years, I was in Indiana. And my
Wow.
wife said, "Hey, get me out of the Midwest cold, wintry weather and move me south."
You're not the first person.
so we-
She's not the
we-
first
we
wife
came-
to say that.
We came south, and as Nicole and the other staff said, I brought the snow with me this year since I had it. So,
So you're
sorry about
to
that.
blame.
He's to blame.
You're the one
He's
to
to
blame.
blame.
But they still got snow. I think last night I heard up in northern Indiana. So
So
Yeah.
you like living
You're
here?
not-
we love it. So still looking for a house. So if anyone's selling a large home, I'll put a plug in right there for
Yeah,
that.
you need a large home with the
Six
many
kids?
Yeah.
What's
He
the
needs a
makeup?
big home.
3 boys and 3 girls, ages 2 to 14.
Okay.
Wow. That is nice. That's
Stepping
awesome.
s-
Nice. And Nicole's,
Stepping steps.
Nicole's been here for a while, haven't
I
you?
have been here for a while. So my husband's active duty Marine Corps. He
Yay.
is at 16 and a half years. So
Nice.
have spent most of his career here in
Really?
Onslow County, except for recruiting duty. And so
Wow.
this is home for us at this
nice.
point.
Nice.
Wow.
Yep.
16 years at Lejeune is pretty cool.
Yep.
Yes.
That's-
Pretty cool.
My former neighbor lived here, and he spent during World War. He came here before World War II started in 1941 to help get Lejeune going. His entire career was at Lejeune.
Yeah. So
That was wild.
he's on his way out of Lejeune currently. For
Where's he
his
going?
that changes.
Yes.
That changes every other week. We're on our 3rd set of orders. So
Oh.
but he will be going alone, and me and the kids will stay behind because this is home for us.
Gotcha.
I was just going to ask, are you
Yeah.
going with him?
No, we're not going with him.
Yes.
You can't get me to leave here at this point. So,
There you go.
but I've been here for about 12 years total of that 16
Yes.
years, and
And you've
originally
done
from
a lot
Pennsylvania.
around here because I've seen your name.
Yes, we're
tied
friends
in
on
with a
Facebook.
lot.
Yes.
Where
Yes.
did you come from?
Gettysburg, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
So where it snows too. But
Yes, there's a reason to leave.
yes, absolutely.
Snow.
Yes.
I understand that. I
Very
don't like it.
nice.
I don't
Very
like snow at
nice.
all. And I'm from here. I just don't like snow.
Now, I remember going in there and talking with people before, and I've seen your preschool class like take little bus trips to different areas. So you offer that too for the ones that are in the preschool?
Well, so we have a lot of different programs currently where we're servicing our youth across the county. So we do have 15 before and after school sites. And then we do, like Charlie mentioned earlier, our summer camp. And so our summer camp
Nice.
kids will take field trips throughout the course of the summer. That those field trips, majority of them are all included in the cost of summer camp. And then our preschool is that half-day program. And they will take little trips here and there as well.
Very nice. Very nice. Now,
I like it.
do you have openings for the preschool?
We do, and they are currently enrolling for next year, as well as a brand new junior kindergarten class that'll be opening in the fall as well. And they're
Nice.
still
Junior
currently
kindergarten.
junior
Yes.
kindergarten. So those kids that just barely miss that cutoff to go to kindergarten in the
Okay.
fall,
All right.
they'll be able to go to that junior kindergarten program.
All right. Yeah,
Very
there's an
nice.
age thing there, right?
There is.
Yeah,
So we have a lot coming up here.
we do.
This is so good for Onslow County. You know, I've always been behind it as you have.
Oh, yes.
And I'm so excited because I can actually walk to the YMCA.
Oh, yeah.
I live across the street
All right, but it's going to
at the light.
Don't
Be so
forget
nice
it.
for you.
Yes, yes.
And how
I'm
many red light
excited.
violations occur every day? Be
What?
careful.
What has that got? I could. What is?
If you're going to be crossing at the light, watch out.
I know how. Look,
Drivers don't
the
always
mayor
stop.
put that light up just for me. See, so I'm going to
So-
abide by all rules and regulations.
So tax dollars were used to support you. I got to talk to the mayor about that
No,
one.
it's nice. It's nice that the city put a light there. And I know you have a side street that comes out right close to the light. So traffic really shouldn't be an issue.
Yeah, well,
It's very nice way it's done. And all that building going down the street from you.
Oh, yes.
Amazon building. Yes.
Right behind us.
might have to put up a few more lights.
Well, I'm going to tell you, it ended up being, the YMCA ended up being a fantastic location.
Yeah, well, it's centrally located, not
Fantastic.
just for people in Jacksonville.
Right.
It's not like you got to drive through a bunch of crowded streets to be able to get there
Right.
or parking, whatever. But you can come from all over Onslow County. There are routes to get there without having to get killed. And you can still get there and get home in time, even if you leave at 9 o'clock at night.
Well, there's like
It's not like Wilmington.
5-6 lanes each side of the YMCA, you know, so it's not like it's on a rural road. So I don't think traffic's going to be an issue at all. But and great parking at the YMCA, huge parking lot.
Yep.
Huge,
and it's
huge
been
parking lot.
expanded. So we'll be
It's
adding,
being
you know,
expanded?
another
Yes.
75 parking lot spaces, I believe.
Wow.
So
Oh, good.
it'll
You're gonna
be
need
very
them.
nice. We will.
I have no doubt about it.
Nice.
I'm glad you guys are there, and I'm glad you have visions for the future, not just what we know is going to occur.
Mhm.
I'm sure there's a lot in the works here. Programs to benefit, especially the kids in the area, the young people in the area. So
Yes, but definitely programs for everybody.
Mhm.
The door is going to be open for everyone, regardless of your financial background. So everybody will be able
Yeah,
to
'cause
come in and utilize our
We
services.
talked about that the last time when we had a guest from the YMCA on here, and they were talking about that. If there were families who were impoverished or couldn't afford a normal membership, there's applications for them to fill out
Absolutely.
to get help with being able to afford a membership.
And those all come from our community impact grant. Local business owners or
Right.
local community partners can, contribute to the YMCA and then turn around, and that's how we help for those families to be able to pay their memberships.
Excellent,
good.
excellent.
All right, guys, if you want to go for this at the groundbreaking, and bring your own shovel if you want to help.
Public invited.
Absolutely.
Come on out. It's going to be 11 o'clock, YMCA. It's on Gum Ranch Road.
Yes.
I don't know how to tell you to get there, just beyond the high school.
1940 Gum Branch Road.
That too.
Yes.
So
It's the old River of Life Church for
Yes.
those that used to attend that. It's
a great location.
right
It-
past
it's-
Jacksonville High School.
You're going to like it. You really are going to like it. So,
Yeah.
or
Any
else.
other big news coming out of the Y?
No, just keep following us on social media so
I've
you can
got
keep
you.
up to date on the construction of the facility, and we'll be posting some more information as new programs are happening. And
Good.
just come join us.
Now, you were talking about programs for all ages. What about adults?
There will be programs for adults.
What
Absolutely.
what kind of programs?
So still in the works, but we're hearing a lot of needing to service our senior citizens. And so we're definitely in the works of some programs that will come up for them.
Things like nutrition, exercise.
Memory classes.
Is that what you need?
What?
Are you saying that's a need? Do you need that
A what?
program? A memory class?
What?
What's a memory class?
Come in and, play memory, right?
Memory.
He's messing on you.
But no, there will be programs for everyone.
Right. Will you have any type of like adult daycare there? I know
We've
that's
heard that a lot.
to ask.
We've actually heard that a lot lately.
Really?
We have.
My wife would like to put me in one.
You can be our first enrollment that we do.
There you go. I've been doing it.
No, there has been a lot of talks about just programs to service our senior citizen population. So there's been a lot of talks about what we can offer. So that's in the works, hopefully.
Rayford, you know what's so nice is
Rapid
all of
cane
this.
walking would be good.
All of this is going to be right down the street from the One City Pavilion that the city's getting ready to
Yep.
put in, the amphitheater, the hotels, everything.
Y'all can spend a lifetime just going back and forth.
Gosh, it's going to
That'd
be
be good.
busy.
It is going to be busy.
I think
That used to be a very quiet part of town.
Used to be.
I'm
Yes.
glad they're taking advantage of the opportunity here.
I am too.
All right,
Yes.
Nicole, Charlie, thank you.
Thank
you. Thank
for
you
so
coming
much.
in.
And
Thank
we'll
you for
have
having us.
Please come back again.
Yes, yeah.
Sure.
If you get some new stuffs, as things progress, I'm sure we're going to be talking with you. Definitely, we're going to be talking with you.
And
Happy.
I'll send you in. Do you have one of your cards with you?
Yes, I have some cards. I'll give
Oh,
you one.
I've got you on email anyway.
Yes.
I will send you the email. Anything announcements that you have, please send us
Absolutely.
so we can get it out for you.
Yeah, I actually have a couple upcoming fundraisers, and I can send you the
Okay.
information for those fundraisers.
That's great because I noticed. Yeah, you said that, and I noticed you have something upcoming in May.
So we have a couple things actually coming up in May. We have a mother-son dance,
That's
Mother's
right,
Day
yes.
weekend.
Mhm.
So you can dress as your favorite superhero with your son and come to a dance at the
That would be
YMCA.
Wonder Woman.
Fun.
That's what I want
I
to dress
still
up as.
No, it's too
We
late
also
now.
have a pancake fundraiser that will be happening at Eggs Up.
Okay.
They are opening in the evening for us, and we get to keep a
Oh, really?
portion of the ticket proceeds.
They're
So
so
those
good
are-
there.
It's so good. So
Yes.
that's coming up. We have the Marine Chevy Shuffle. So we have a 5K that same weekend that you can sign
Okay.
up and you can come run.
All right. Yeah, we need to get on your news list because this is stuff that we can be talking about and putting out there for everyone who's interested. The mother-son dance, that sounds like a lot of fun.
We did a daddy-daughter dance back in February. And so we had a good turnout and they asked for mother-son. So
Yeah.
here we are dressing up as superheroes for Mother's Day, I guess.
That is, what are you dressing up as?
My son doesn't even want to go with me.
Really? Well,
What?
Yes.
Charlie's got 3 sons.
He's got
Pick
some
one of
extras.
his.
Yes, they would come. They would come with me.
Charlie, you borrow one of Charlie's sons. That is so
you,
cool.
for some of your runs and whatever your outside activities, the Onslow Amateur Radio Club, they provide guys with radios because they're in constant contact. They put them in different places along runs if you request it.
I actually think I might know a couple of them, so I'll know who to call.
I can put you in touch with the right ones.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
Please
if,
keep
if,
them
if
busy.
you know some others, or come by and ask, because we do it all the time. We got 1 or 2 coming up. I got one coming up in a week or 2
Right.
for Brookview Baptist.
Oh,
They got a run coming up, and another one in
Nice.
May for that.
The Grace Water Run.
Yeah,
wow.
there's several things. Well, I forgot what the other one was. There's so much going on.
Right. And Nicole, I know we talked about this yesterday, and I'm just putting it out there for the listeners. I asked you about the seniors that through their health insurance have that silver sneaker addendum on their insurance where their insurance will pay for their gym membership. And I know you're working right now to find out whether or not the YMCA is going to partner with the health insurances on that. So
That's a Charlie question.
Yeah, so we'll be exploring all those as we get
Yes.
closer to the opening.
Yes.
It'll all
There's
determine on
silver
what type of
sneakers, and then I
Yes.
think Blue Cross has a different one. The plan.
silver and fit, silver
Yeah.
sneakers,
I know.
a few different ones. Yes.
they pay pretty good money,
Yeah, they
good
do.
money out. So yeah, I'm sure that I know it's too soon for that right now, but we've had a lot of people also question us about that too, wanting to know, well, and are we going to be able to use our health insurance? So hang tight. It
Find
won't
out.
be long before you
Okay.
know it. One more snowstorm and YMCA is going to be up and running.
Charlie's getting kicked out of Onslow County if there's another snowstorm.
And we know where to go now. I'm going to look up your
No,
address.
he will be assigned to swim New River in the next snowstorm.
Yes.
Yes.
You won't have to worry about gators. They hibernate when it gets cold. So
We could
you
say-
can just swim the river
Thank
Wait
you.
in a
for-
bathing suit.
We could sneak over one night while they're digging a hole and throw a couple gators in there.
That'd be a terrible idea. Please don't do that.
If they're going to be gators, they're going to become gumbo at my house. Okay.
Well, it seems
Just
like
saying. Just saying. I
y'all
like
have had a
gumbo.
mess over this last 6 months or so with things happening behind the YMCA. That, like when they had that chemical spill at the water plant, did y'all have to close the doors?
That was before my time. Was that before your time?
Or at least I didn't know about it.
You didn't drink the water,
it
did you?
wasn't that long ago. It's been since you were there.
Yeah.
I think so. It was a water plant, and they
Yeah.
had a
Yeah.
chemical reaction, and they had in
was
fact, the street
contained.
next to the YMCA was all closed down, and a lot of the emergency responders were parked in the parking lot at the YMCA. When you first go by, you're like, "What happened at the Y?" But it wasn't the Y.
So you're just spreading gossip and rumors.
No,
now.
it
That's all it
happened.
is.
Don't
You
start.
read it on Facebook.
I have proof about the boat too. So anyway, we go
You
like
got a
this all the
boat at the
time.
YMCA?
No, not
We
at the
don't
Y.
have a boat.
Want to
No.
buy one?
We need a
I
boat.
got one for
We need
sale.
one to be donated.
I got one for sale.
See, they need one to be donated.
I got one for sale.
How big of a boat do you need?
Just big enough to take our donors out.
Oh, this one's a 30
Schmooze them
footer.
on the water.
This is a 30 footer. You can take them out and have a good time with it.
Do you know how to drive it? I mean, I don't know how to drive a boat.
Yes, I know how to drive one.
There you go.
For 60 years, I've been driving.
You're
boats.
hired.
Okay. Got to keep the fish that I catch while we're out?
Yes. Can you
Okay.
clean them and cook them too?
Absolutely.
Okay.
On
Yeah,
the
you're
boat.
definitely hired then.
Cook out at Rayford's.
Okay.
That would be-
All right, guys, thank you for
Yeah,
coming.
thank you so much.
We
We
do appreciate
appreciate
you
it.
coming
Thank you
in.
guys.
All right,
I
you
hope
take
that
care.
answered everybody's questions. I
Yes,
answered all
well, we
mine.
will have more.
Yes,
There's not
we
a doubt in
will.
my mind, and I hope so, because that's what we
We'll
do.
definitely have them back.
Oh, yeah.
Exciting. I just think it's so exciting to
I-
see all this
I-
Onslow.
Growth, and more
Yes.
growth. There's you got a card now officially.
Great. Yeah, I think it's so great to see all the growth in Onslow County. YMCA. I mean, are you serious? Yay, finally.
Yes, finally it is.
Yes, finally.
Marine Outlook, that's what's going to be happening offshore. So, it's a bit up and down right now, and you're encouraged to keep a very close watch on the weather conditions for the next few days and check those conditions before you venture offshore, regardless of what the forecast is, because some of those forecasts are produced a couple of days in advance, or at least a few hours in advance. And as you know, around here, weather changes on a regular basis.
Yes. it
Offshore
does.
today, prediction, northerly winds 20 to 25 knots with gusts to 30, diminishing, they say, to 10 to 15 this afternoon. Seas 4 to 6 feet. Even when the winds slow down, the waves are going to continue. They got to gradually come down. Sounds and rivers are going to be a rough diminishing to a moderate chop this afternoon. Tomorrow, northeasterly winds 15 to 20 knots, diminishing to 10 to 15 in the afternoon. Gusts to 25, seas 2 to 4 feet. Sounds and rivers choppy, diminishing to a moderate chop in the afternoon. And on Thursday, southeasterly winds 10 to 15 knots, seas 2 to 4 feet. Sounds and rivers a moderate chop.
That's pretty nice. Today, mostly sunny with a high near 65. Northwest wind 8 to 13 miles per hour with gusts as high as 20. Tonight, mostly clear with a low around 36. Wednesday, sunny with a high near 65. Thursday, mostly sunny with a high near 71. And I think the patchy frost is more inland,
Yes, it is.
but still,
It's going to be chilly.
if you have any plants outside that don't do well with cold, bring them in.
not many plants that do well with cold. Those summer plants don't ever do well with cold.
Yes.
Supreme Court, yes, today's Tuesday, yesterday, told Donald Trump it's good to go to forget about that lower court's ruling barring the administration from using a 1798 wartime immigration law to deport Venezuelan nationals like right now. No wait, get aboard the plane. And that includes those members of the TDA. I will never be able to pronounce it.
Trindog.
Gang is a gang.
It's a gang.
It's a vicious
Right.
gang. But the president can continue, the administration can continue sending them anywhere but here if it wants to. Significant victory for the administration as it advances key immigration priorities. Key immigration priorities are to get rid of the lowlife. You're in this country illegally. You're a vicious person. That's your first two things that are going to get you kicked out of the country. As we get rid of all the vicious individuals, then we can start working to bring down the numbers. Not everybody is a vicious individual who's here, but they are here illegally. And guess what? We are paying for it.
Yes, we are.
We are paying for it. So
Yes, we are.
they need to go. It was a 5-4 ruling to grant the administration's request to lift the stay in a temporary victory for Trump and his allies. A temporary victory. Here's what's the big gripe. Alien Enemies Act. It's the immigration law passed by Congress in 1789 to immediately remove certain migrants from U.S. soil. Prior to Trump's second White House term, it had been invoked just 3 times in U.S. history during the War of 1812, during World War I, and most recently World War II. Some of those, like the World War II, it's okay. We understand. We were concerned. We were scared. We actually put a bunch of people in custody, took a bunch of Japanese Americans and Japanese visitors or whoever. We could find them. It was an ugly thing that occurred then. They were not illegals. They were not here illegally. I don't know about those in World War I. I don't know about those during the War of 1812. But to protect this country, this Enemies Act came up. It was adopted 1789. And now Trump is using it. We need to be able to move people away from this country. I grew up with the whole thing. Deportation was a standard operating procedure. If you were here, you were not here legally. You were transported to the border one way or the other and sent packing. Just go away. Don't come back. Most of the people at that time got the message. They didn't come back. The returnees, the returning offenders of that immigration law,
Right.
they generally took notice at it. Those today, they sneak into the country, we kick them out, or we turn them around at the border, and they keep trying. They keep trying. What is wrong with the Border Patrol when they pick you up inside this country illegally, just transporting you straight back to whatever the closest border is and sends you packing? I don't have a problem with that. The United States Coast Guard routinely intercepts vessels loaded with illegals or to be illegals, and they take preemptive action. They turn them around. They take them under tow. Quite often, those vessels that they're coming here on are not seaworthy. They take people aboard their ship, aboard the Coast Guard vessels, and they transport them to other locations. They do not let them come into this country, and I don't care whether they're seeking asylum or not. They may be seeking asylum when they board the Coast Guard cutter, but I'm sorry, that's not the way it works. That's not the way the law says.
Good morning, Steve.
How are you, Steve? What's up?
Good morning.
Oh, another beautiful day in paradise.
It is now. It got kind of ugly, but it was beautiful last night.
Yes.
Yeah.
We
Yep,
needed to
yep.
rain.
The yaller,
Yep, for
you
sure.
wonder where the yaller went.
Yeah.
Old Yeller.
You're still there. All you got to do is look up at the top of the pine trees.
Yeah, just blink your eyes a lot.
Yes.
Hey, guys. I wanted to comment on something this morning. I was listening to Dr. Greg Murphy and his comments.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard y'all commenting about the, let me see if I get this right the way you said it, the people at the VA that Biden hired that were unnecessary and they fired them. Is that a accurate description?
That's a kind of yeah. I don't know
A
how,
generalization
I don't know how
of what y'all
accurate
were
it is.
talking about.
He put 80,000 people to work that were not employed or whatever, however he got them, put them to work, and the VA actually determined that they did not need them, and that Doge says, well, they got to go, so they were gone.
Okay. I looked into it a little bit, and it turns out that those people were hired because of the PACT Act. You remember that?
No, I do not. The PACT Act?
You don't remember the PACT Act?
I remember something about it, but not enough to
refresh
even
me.
state.
I'm gonna take memory lessons.
Right.
Couple years ago, they passed the PACT Act, which y'all supported. You talked about it quite a bit, but it was funding for the VA was the biggest push in it, and it was to help military personnel who had been around burn pits and stuff like that. Do you remember that part?
Yeah, I remember the burn pit part. Yes.
Okay. Well, at any rate, that's where the funding came from. And Joe Biden did sign that into law, and that's where the funding came to hire those additional people to expand the capabilities of the VA. Guess how Dr. Greg Murphy voted on that bill?
Probably supported it.
He supported it.
Okay.
So I think it's worth mentioning that he neglected to mention that you know, the reason those people were hired was because they passed a piece of legislation that he voted for.
Okay.
And Biden didn't hire them; the VA hired them. Now, whether they were necessary or not, I'm not debating that. But it was an expansion, and anytime there's an expansion of any organization, you build it and then they come. You have to hire the people, you have to train the people, you have to upfit the facilities that they're going to be at. It's not like you hire them and then the next day every one of them's busy. That ain't how it works in the real world. So the point I'm trying to make is where he's kind of gaslighting us here by trying to make out that Biden did these things, and he signed off on it. And that's the reason why people like me get so aggravated with these Republicans, is because they're trying to pull the wool over our eyes. You know, why did he support it if it was such a bad thing? He don't want to talk about that.
Okay. So
and when people like me go to those the town hall meetings, their grievance is valid, but they're discounted. They're paid protesters. They're every excuse in the world except for answering the questions that are asked of them.
Okay.
And
since I barely remember, I didn't know it was called the PACT Act. I don't have a clue. Don't remember that. I do remember an effort to get people in there to assist people who were who suffered as a result of being in the vicinity of the burn pits. Yes, I remember that. Now, I don't remember being 80,000 people that were supposed to be hired to take care of that. Earmarked for that particular purpose, 80,000 people. Was that part of the PAC Act? To hire 80,000 people to take care of the folks who were suffering from.
I could go back and pull out the specific language in that bill, and you can find it if you want to as well. It was to hire a large number of people at the VA.
Okay,
that was the intent of that. Now, whether they put them in the right positions or not, I don't know that much about it. But the fact that I think that's relevant is that he's dogging Biden about something that it only got to Biden's desk because people like him voted for it.
Okay. Now,
you know, and
he mentioned this morning, and I do not know. He mentioned again this morning that during this time with these extra personnel, and he's saying, the VA is saying, not me, and I don't think he's saying it, but that 80,000 people, additional personnel were hired during that time between 2021 and 2024, whenever, that they were hired during that time to go to the VA. They had 300,000, then they had 80,000 more, but no more people were served. No more veterans were served, and service was no faster than it was before.
That's the problem.
Is that? Did you? I don't know. That's what he said. I do not know because I haven't looked at it.
I haven't studied that side of it deeply. I just initially looked to see if he voted for the bill. The bill was where the funding came from to hire those people. And that's not, I mean, I don't know how you hang that on the White House. You know, the VA, if they didn't, you know, if they didn't use their funds efficiently, then that's a situation with the administration of the VA. As far as funding it, you know, the only way the VA has the money to expand their operation is if Congress allocates that money to them.
Sure, I understand. So,
right.
If here's the problem, and I do not know, but let me just give you a for instance, if you know, if I ran an organization and I had department heads who would come to me or groups who would come to me and say, I need this amount of money to do yada, 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 yada. And then I say, okay, or the board of directors or whoever, if I had the final say, then I would say, okay, yeah, that sounds like a great plan. And then a year or 2 or 3 years later, I'm looking at it. What did you do with that money? It's where you're spending it, but I haven't seen any advancement. I haven't seen you do anything that I told you that you said you were going to do. Do you understand where I'm coming from? Not all bills that the CEO or the operations manager, whoever approved it, but it's not like Congress. Yes, this is a great plan. It's a good idea. We don't implement them. We fund them. And if we fund them and nothing happens as a result of it, is it our fault for funding it, or is it somebody else's fault for not taking care of business?
I do not dispute your logic, except for the fact that you're assuming a lot in that analogy that you're giving me. And
well, Congress does not do anything but fund them, right? Congress does not oversee it, right? They don't do the operations of the VA.
There may be some oversight somewhere, I don't know, but you're right. Initially, they just fund it, and the head of the VA is the one that kind of decides how they're going to spend their budget, I guess.
Sure.
You know, some things have direct tags to what they have to use it for. When Congress passes it, they can put in the provision in there that has to be used for this. I would say, let's look at the logic. If they hired 80,000 people, none of them were doing anything. Not a single one.
I don't know.
They fired every one of them. I mean, just logistically, though. Let's just think about that. Out of 80,000 people they hired, not one of them was doing anything productive. Well, that don't seem logical. That don't seem, that seems a little unusual.
Well,
not a single one of those people were doing anything beneficial for the VA.
I'm trying to understand why they would go from 300,000. I mean, a significant increase. 300,000 is almost 30%, right at 30% increase in the number of people. That's a fairly substantial increase. And how could you actually give them enough work to do suddenly, even over a period of 2 or 3 years?
That's the other side of the coin, is that like I said, anytime you expand an organization, you build it, then they come. And, when you add 80,000 people, that's a lot of HR work. That's a lot of interviews. That's a lot of training. That's a lot of, you're going to have additional facilities. That's things that don't happen overnight or even over a month or sometimes even over a year.
Then why hire them
I'm not trying to
first?
justify them. I'm just trying to say there is a possibility that you pass legislation like that, and it may take a while before the full benefit is realized.
But then why hire them first? You've got the allocation for it. You've got the appropriations for it. Why not get everything in order before you go out and employ all these people? Why not get
This-
the programs
All
up
right.
and running?
Let me give you an example. You
Okay.
open a hospital in a rural area. You have to hire the nurses, the doctors, the janitors, the orderlies, the people who sit at the front desk. You have to hire all those people before you can open the doors to the public. You have to build the hospital. You have to stock the hospital, and that takes time. It's not done in a day, a week, or a month.
I don't think
And
there's ever
so
been a
you're
hospital.
You're hiring
Of
staff for that
course.
hospital long before the doors of that hospital ever open.
I understand that, but I do not know of any hospital that anybody would ever build, and the day they start building it, that they hire nurses and doctors to man it. Do you? What are they going to do with them?
Well, wait a minute though. I don't know the particulars of it, but they can't hire them on the day they open. It has
No.
to start considerably before they open. So, you would have to get HR hiring 80,000 people. You have to start doing that quite a while before the doors open if you're going to hire that many
Okay.
people.
Well,
And back when the PAC Act passed, the VA was up there, had been screaming for years how they needed more money and more personnel.
When did the
And so-
PAC Act pass? Actually, Congress. When did it pass? Do you have a date?
I want to say it was 2022. I'd have to pull it up.
Okay,
I don't want to
The
misquote.
PAC Act did not go into effect until March 5th, 2024. So if it was passed in Congress in 2022, they had all that time to train their people and put them in position when they opened up the PAC Act for the veterans to make their claims in 2024. So I don't know. And not only that, but Rayford, how many people did you say they just laid off?
from the VA,
Yes,
the same number they hired.
the same number they hired. But yet the PAC Act only covered people that were certain people, like there are veterans that were exposed to toxic
The burn pits.
Yes.
Yes.
in Vietnam, the Gulf War, and post 9/11 eras.
Mhm.
And it added 20 more presumptive conditions for burn pits, Agent Orange, and other toxic exposures. So we're talking about this only covers during that time and those people that have suffered from that.
Mhm.
It's not every veteran in the United States. So it's a specific type of exposure for individuals during a specific timeline.
Mhm.
So did they need 60,000 people?
80,000.
80,000 people to help these people file their claims? Frank was on here a year ago talking about that.
Yep.
He's still waiting
did.
to get all that done.
And I get that, and that is a valid claim. I'm not trying to dispute you there. Is that they may
Right.
not, but that also attributes to the fact that it would take even longer to fully utilize those personnel. If it has a restriction over which veterans they see, then that's going to take even longer to fully realize, the benefits of that.
Well, I think the biggest complaint with our veterans that have filed for this and have filled out the paperwork is it's been over a year and they still have not heard from the VA,
Yep.
not getting any response from the VA. And it just makes me wonder, do we have a lot of waste in the VA? We need to cut down some of these people and put them all, this is your specific job. Let's get it done. Let's get it done. Don't
Right.
know. I'm not
Right.
in the VA. Don't know.
And you have a very valid point there, but in your point, it would require somebody looking at these people and making a fair evaluation if they're actually benefiting the VA or is the VA wasting money on these people.
Mhm.
That does not appear to be what they did. They
Well-
just said, all right, fire them all.
Now, the VA director said that they did not do what they were supposed to have done or what was intended to be done, whether it was supposed to be done or what. The VA
All right.
director has come out and said, yes, it was pretty much a boondoggle.
Right. And so that sounds like that we should take issue with the head of the VA.
Yep.
Wouldn't that be logical?
Right.
Yeah. And
that
whoever's at the top. Yep.
It shouldn't take a veteran over a year to
But
file a
but
claim.
in the meantime, should we pay for 80,000 people to be there to not move the VA any forward because one man screwed up?
Well, it sounds like that maybe they should be replaced and they should reevaluate the situation and maybe reallocate funds to different areas.
Well, I don't
Don't
know.
sound like what they're doing. It don't sound like that's what they're doing. It just sounds like they say, "Oh, it was bad. Cut it all out. Kill it."
Yeah, cut it all out and let's
And,
start from scratch because that was a bad plan.
Well, but then it comes back to, my whole point is that you got politicians who are sitting there telling you this, and they voted for this.
I understand. They voted to
They
fund
voted
it.
for it.
They voted to fund it.
Right.
And
Right.
when I've done things that I like, good God, I really wish I had known how it was not going to be implemented before I did it.
I agree, but my point is that this morning he used it as a derogatory thing towards the prior administration.
I don't get into the prior
And it was,
administration.
well, I don't either, but that's what he said this morning. He put it
Well, then
squarely on Biden.
call him and complain about it.
He put it squarely on Biden and didn't take any responsibility himself and didn't even mention the fact that it was the PACT Act that, the reason they hired all these people. And they're just trying to twist it. They're trying to pull the wool over our eyes. He's just another one of those, he's just the same as those bleeding heart liberals on the left, just trying to spin things to make himself look good.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, but anyway.
Well, I've got one. I'm going to wait till you hang up. But
Okay.
I've got one in North Carolina bill that's been introduced by a representative, and I know you're going to think the same way I thought when you hear this.
Well, you better let him have it now. Before
Well,
he
it's
hangs up.
on abortion.
Okay.
We have
I'm going to feel
representative.
the same way, or Raper's going to feel the same way.
I think she's talking about you.
Well,
Oh, okay.
okay, let me get your thoughts on it then. Representative Keith Kidwell out of Washington. I know Keith well. He has introduced House Bill 804, which would make abortion after conception illegal,
You can't do it before then.
except to save the life of the mother. There are no exceptions for rape or incest.
That'll never pass. Better not pass.
Honestly, I mean, what is somebody like that?
Restrictive abortion ban in the country.
What is he thinking?
He's not.
You know that. We all know that. We all know that's ridiculous.
Well, why are you going to waste my time arguing and proposing something like this that doesn't stand a snowball's chance and where of passing?
I'm gonna get him to call in one more.
I don't. You better not, because I'll blow him up.
Honestly, that's the problem I have with a lot of politicians, left and right.
Right.
They're not serious. It's like they're playing some reality show.
Well, if he's serious, there's a problem. There's a big problem.
Don't they have a committee or something like you've got to put that bill through to them for their thoughts on whether or not we're going to let this go? I looked at the
It's not
bill.
going to go any further.
No, it's not.
Any person can introduce a bill.
He's the only name on the bill. There's no co-sponsors.
There's a reason for that.
It's not going to go anywhere. I know that.
So.
But I mean, seriously, we have to waste our time with stupidity. It's my opinion. Sorry, Keith, but it's ridiculous.
If I had to lay a
Ridiculous.
bet, I'd say there's some conservative group that he's trying to impress that's going to donate some money to his campaign.
Maybe.
No, I don't know.
Because there's no
Maybe.
reasonable reason to introduce a bill like that.
Oh, listen to this. If the bill becomes law, anyone involved in performing or receiving an abortion could be found guilty of a felony, which in North Carolina means they could spend up to life in prison.
I will propose a bill if I can find a
Buddy.
legislator to do it. I propose a bill that any bills that are proposed that are this stupid are felonious and should be dealt with according. Go to jail.
I think the representatives should put on.
Here's the thing. I've got a weird kind of take on this myself, is that I'm on the fence. I believe that it's detrimental to the human race to have abortions, period. Even in the cases of rape and incest. And I'm not saying they shouldn't do it, but every time we have an abortion, regardless of the reasons, we don't know that we're not taking out the next Einstein, the next person the person who's going to cure cancer. Every time a person's born, it is a roll of the intellectual dice, whether that person's going to be an absolute genius or not.
Let me ask you this.
I don't know
Steve,
that.
Steve, I like math, okay? Let's just, out of every 5 million births in this country, and that's gonna, that's not that many, right? Out of every 5 million births in this country, how many Einsteins are hatched?
Okay. Whoa. That gives also.
That's kind of my point. Is that they're 1 in a million.
It's more
But what
than-
if it's like
or 1 in
Hannibal
10
Lecter?
million.
So we're going to think that by performing an abortion, 1 in a million, then the other 999,999
Could be
are going to be
TAs.
there. They're going to be Hannibal Lecters or other
Yeah.
individuals, just like
That's
Lee was
the
alluding
nature
to.
of the beast.
No,
I agree with you there. That's kind of the nature of the beast. But
for the sake of
we can't deny the
one,
reality.
for the sake
But
of
we don't
having
know.
one Einstein, we can do without him. We got AI. Don't worry about it.
Right. my point is that if you got it, you don't know what that unborn person will achieve.
Yeah, I'm
in their
not
lifetime.
willing
You have no
to
way of
risk it.
determining that.
I'm not willing to risk it.
I'm not saying that I'm not saying that it should be illegal or it shouldn't be illegal. I'm just saying the fact that we're every time you terminate one of those births, you don't know what you're actually doing.
Well, I'm in favor of
As far as
abortion.
what that person would achieve or not achieve, or where they come from does not determine where they go.
I support abortion, but I call it retroactive abortion. After you're born and you do something so egregious that you need to be eliminated, that would be an abortion retroactively.
Yeah.
Well, I
Like
would.
I say, I can understand it's complicated and people have
Yeah.
very varying views over it.
Yeah.
I would say he's one of those Republicans that believes in the sanctity of the Republican platform, and the Republican platform.
I'm
is against
agreeing with Steve.
abortion.
He's looking for money from some weird group.
No, Keith is like that
I hate to
guy.
say it, but yeah,
You
that's,
don't
that's
have
where
to
I'm
hate
gonna
to
lay
say
my
it. That's a
bet.
fact, I'm sure. Okay, Kidwell,
He's
I
not
don't
looking
like
to
him.
seriously pass this legislation. That's for
It's
sure.
not going to go anywhere. You can see that.
Why are they wasting my time and money
That's
discussing
my
it?
point. Isn't there a committee that can say, no, we're not
You
doing
know,
this?
When he
Okay.
comes up
No.
with something so ridiculous, I think he
Hey.
should have to pay for all the expenses.
That's where your
they cut
taxes
us
are
I'm gonna ask
going.
y'all right quick, and
Yeah.
y'all can discuss it after I'm gone if you want. Is about the North Carolina throwing out the 68,000 votes.
Oh, not sure.
That whole
That is kind
thing
of so strange and weird.
Is I
I got to read up on it again. I saw that yesterday.
If the Board of Elections,
I
each
didn't think it
county
would get
did
this
not
far.
do their job and follow through on checking for identification, because they gave them a certain time period. If you went in there, you didn't have a driver's license, your vote was considered provisional. And then you've got so many days to produce it or whatever. If the Board of Elections did not follow through, and I'm sure Onslow County's squeaky clean, because I know Jason.
Yeah.
He's good. But if they did not follow through within the 15 days, then those ballots, in my opinion, should be thrown out. Now, this has gotten so intense and so complicated. I don't know, because now they're telling all the BOEs that they've got 15 days to go back and pull all those provisional and make sure that all this stuff was done within the 15 days, or they're going to be thrown out. Why are we waiting now? Why didn't we do this
That's
back in November,
6
December?
months ago.
Here's the
Yeah.
question I got, guys,
Oh.
on the whole thing. Is this if I go down there to the polling station and I do what they tell me to do to cast my vote legally,
Right.
and then if there's a clerical error on their behalf, are they still not responsible for making sure my vote counted?
I don't know how they.
I did not make it.
They can be responsible, but I mean, what do you do with it? Their responsibility. Sue them?
How do you prove it?
I think that if a person did
No.
what they were told to do to cast a vote legally, then that vote should be legal, even if the administrator has made a mistake.
Okay, here's a way to solve all of that for the future. Forget provisional ballots. If you do not have the proper ID and you are not voting in the place that you are registered to vote, that is on you, the voter. It is not on the Board of Elections. It's not on the rest of us. That is on you to have signed up and registered to vote in the district where you live, and to have proper ID on the day of the election. Or guess what, Lud? You ain't going to vote. Done.
But what you're talking about, Rayford, is changing the rules. And
Yeah,
whatever-
well, the rules
if
were-
if we change the rules, I agree with that. But
Well-
these people did what they thought was by the rules.
I know what you're talking
rules
about. You're talking about current. I'm talking about how to prevent this from ever occurring again. Done.
It's crazy.
Now they
Here's
now
the
they
problem.
can
It's a
argue with that.
problem.
We're not going to fix what has
Right.
occurred. You and I are not going to. We can discuss it to death. Somebody else is going to have to fix it.
Right, but if it's an administrative error, then the rules don't really matter at that point. They made a mistake.
And then again, you just use the biggest word in the English language.
But the big thing is there's a law. And if by making the mistake they didn't follow the law, then should those votes be counted?
But who are you hurting when you don't count the votes? Is what Steve is arguing, and I agree with him.
We have a
True.
We have a constitutional right to vote, and
Yes.
as long as we're following the rules that they told us to follow, our votes should be counted. If they made
Yes.
a mistake and didn't make us follow the rules properly, then that's an administrative problem. And,
Right,
But my vote should still count. I did what you told me to do
Who's going to prove
to
that?
be able to legally vote.
65,000 votes. Who's going to actually sit down and,
Okay, now forget about the numbers, even if it's one. Let's just suppose they decide, okay, we're going to go back. And whose responsibility is it that, okay, you cast your vote as we told you you could do, and it's a provisional ballot, but when we checked it, no, you were not legally able to vote on that day. Done. Then we don't count your vote.
it should have already
Right.
been done.
And
But
they should have,
that's-
and they should have ejected or rejected that vote at that time. And that's still on the voter to have done it right. The voter didn't do it right, so he claims that he lived in the district and didn't.
And that's a valid point, Rafer, but I believe that's different than the situation we find ourselves in.
I don't know what our
On this
situation is
particular
now. I don't know what it is.
Right.
So
This
we'll find
particular
out.
one, if they fell inside of all the legal parameters, but now they're trying to pose a after the fact rule.
I think what
don't
they're
know
trying to
that.
do is to verify that those provisional ballots that the
Mhm.
were verified by the individual boards of elections in the
Right.
across the district or the state or however these were. I think it's just a district type, but that they're trying to verify. There is a challenge for these boards to prove that they did what they said that they signed off as allowing these votes to be cast.
All right, here it is right here. Let me read this real quick for you. Okay, this is representing three categories of voters: 60,273 from people he claims provided incomplete voter registration information, another 5,509 mail-in absentee ballots from military and overseas voters who were not required to provide photo ID, and 267 ballots from overseas voters who never lived in North Carolina. Griffin isn't arguing that these voters did anything wrong. He's arguing that their ballots should be disqualified because he believes state election officials broke the law by counting them.
Okay. So the challenge is not with the voter.
Right.
It's the challenge is with the Board of Elections.
Right, the State Board of Elections. Interesting.
Casting military, they had cast military votes. The military cast votes, and they never lived in North Carolina.
No, he said
No,
there
that's not what
was
you said.
no.
I thought you said some of them had never lived in North Carolina.
No, that's different. He claims that 5,509 mail-in absentee ballots from military and overseas voters
Uh-huh.
who were not required to provide photo ID. According to the law, they're supposed to provide photo ID. And that means taking a photocopy of your ID and sending it in with your ballot. And 267 ballots from overseas voters who never lived in North
Okay,
Carolina.
not military, just overseas voters.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's different, right? So he's not saying the voters did anything wrong. Rayford, if you'd gone and voted, you did everything you were supposed to do. He's claiming that it's the state board of election that did not
But
do their
if-
job.
Well, if I did not provide a copy of my photo ID, then with that, then yes, I did something wrong.
Right,
If I was required to do that and I didn't send it in, then yes, I did something wrong.
right. And there's
Well,
lots of
but
stories
if you
about.
were told you didn't have to, right?
No, they
Right.
were told they had to. That's part of the voter overseas voting.
I think that's where the discrepancy's coming in, but
Well, we'll
we'll
see.
leave that one for the table.
Yep. I mean, sure.
Okay, gotta go.
Yes,
All right,
we
guys.
do.
See ya.
Y'all have a blessed
Thanks,
day.
You
Steve.
too. Coming up tomorrow, we've got Dr. Rosemary Stein in
Yes,
here.
we do.
And, you know,
We-
there's measles. There's a story about measles out there.
It's a measly story, man.
It's a measly story. But
Mm.
anyway, we're going to be talking about that with Dr. Rose tomorrow morning and how's it impacting the kids and how it could impact the kids here in North Carolina. Measles is, why? I thought that was gone.
I'm
Now
telling
you're
you,
itching.
it's
Okay. All right. We will see you bright and early tomorrow morning, and it should be clear tomorrow morning.
yeah, it should be a beautiful day tomorrow.
And it's going to be a little cool tonight. So if you got plants
Right.
out there, you might want to wrap them up or bring them in.
Absolutely.
And bring your critters in too. Okay.
Yes.
We will see you
always.
tomorrow. We're live and local Real Talk, where we are always awake. We're never woke. Bye. Have a great day. Be safe. Steve just throws stuff out there that just is not going to stick. Who was calling during?
Frank Rochelle. Wait a minute, I cannot get YouTube done. So be careful what you say.
Oh, yeah. Let's see. 1, 2, 1.